All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to the Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 286, full swing, full motion. As always, we're happy you're here with us and for us to be here with you, whether you're live streaming, podcasting, or YouTubing. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time as we have an awesome show for you guys today. We are really excited about it because we know that you guys are excited about it. So therefore, we're all just a bunch of excited people. It's like Tim Tebow at his Jets press conference. I'm really excited. I'm going to say it 27 times. We're stoked for the show, guys, because there's a lot going on in the world of sports. We know that things have been pretty bittersweet here so far in Kansas City when it comes to things of the Chiefs world. We're going to get to plenty of that, I promise you. Also, want to give a quick shout-out to our guys over on the other side of the Truman Complex. The Kansas City Royals in the playoffs, about to take on the New York Yankees. An old 1980s rivalry renewed. To see Bobby Witt and Aaron Judge going at it, man, this is something really exciting. I tweeted as soon as the Royals beat the Orioles in that two-game little mini-series. Don't be shocked if you see the Royals back in the World Series, and I truly do mean that. They have the pitching staff and the star players in their lineup to make that happen. So I'm really stoked to see what could happen in this Yankees Royals series, man. So I just wanted to give a quick shout-out. We don't talk a lot of baseball here. We know this is mostly a football show, but we still need to do it when the time is right, and we need to give credit when credit is due, and we want to give a shout-out to Bobby Witt, Salvi, all the guys, man, over there on the Royal side of things, man, that have made this happen. Vinny Pasquantino back. It's been a big thing, been a big help for them. Yep. And I know that these guys have the rotation to make it happen. So let's keep on rooting those Royals on, man. Let's make sure that they feel it from our side of things. But I tell you at the top of every single show, tell you at the bottom of every single show, so stay tuned for that second reminder. If you guys could, man, we're really trying to grow this thing on YouTube. We've been very successful on the Facebook and Twitter side of things. But YouTube is where we're next. That's where we really want to grow this show, this product, this brand that you guys are all a part of. That's why you tune in every single week, and we appreciate every single one of you, which is why we're asking one more thing from you. Go to youtube.com, hit the Spoken Podcast, like, subscribe, share, notify. All those buttons help us big time. We very much appreciate it. But also get in the live chat, guys, because we're live now. This is a live show. We don't script things. We have a few points that we like to hit on, but Trevor and I have no idea what the other's going to say about whatever the hell we're talking about. So join it as we freestyle this show. It's kind of like the script of Anchorman, if you will, just a lot less funnier. So we just want to make sure that you guys feel that you're a part of this show. We want you guys to know that you are a part of this show. So chime in. You have a take, question, comment, concern, whatever you guys want to talk about, put it in, because we also have a segment called Speak It right in the heart of our show. We give you guys the platform, whatever question you guys have, we post it on the screen as we're talking, and we give you guys our authentic and honest answer in response. We might even ask you guys a few questions. We don't know. Stay tuned. We're also very privileged and honored to have our buddy, our guy, the one and the only from Chief Concerns, the host of Chief Concerns, next to the great all-time Chiefs tight end, Jason Dunn, our buddy Marcus Dash, will be joining us in about 40 minutes or so stay tuned for that. Really excited to have him back on the show. He hasn't been on the show since the season started. It's actually probably been a few months now, so it's been long overdue. So we're really stoked to get Marcus's thoughts on everything Chiefs, everything NFL. We're going to try to scour as many comments or questions towards Marcus and get as many answers as we can today with him. But guys, you guys know we have a great show we do every single week here, and I think it's probably now Trevor time, and probably about 6-7 minutes overtime to get this thing going. So without further ado, it is time for Lance Rants.
Gotta scream! Yeah! We're back on motion! From out to the new beat!
So as we are fully aware, we've had a week, and let me say first of all, Trevor, and I want to ask, how the hell are you doing this week, man? Everything going good for you so far?
Doing good, man. Allergies are definitely subsiding, so I'm feeling a lot better now. But Yeah, man, I'm ready to talk some ball, bro.
Yeah, we don't sound like Eric Mangini up here right now, so we're doing a lot better. Our nasals are completely clear. Thank you to Sudafed and Clarinex. Is it Clarinex? Is that what it's called? I forget what it's called. Clarinex? Claritin. I think that sounds like an instrument. So we're feeling a lot better. But I'll be honest, Trev. You and I have really haven't talked much about it this week because I think that we're just kind of in this lull of, well, as long as they're winning, that's all that really matters. But this was a long damn week, man. Yeah. In fact, I think this is one of the longest non-bye weeks that I can remember in the Mahomes era for a multitude of reasons. One, yes, the Chiefs pulled out a victory against the Chargers, and goddamn was that game ugly. Chiefs start the game off with 2 turnovers in the first quarter. Patrick Mahomes, I think it's safe to say, maybe had his biggest boneheaded play of his career. Yeah. And you all know what I'm talking about, which is going to be the emphasis of our conversation for the majority of this opening act. He overthrows Travis Kelce, which first of all is great to see because Travis Kelce had an awesome game. We told you guys, don't be worried. When Travis has to, he will play at that level, and he did. He had an awesome game. But Patrick Mahomes, with his now alarming 5th interception, and the first time ever having 3 straight games where he throws an interception in the first quarter, never done that before in his career. His 100th game, if you will, that's so fitting. Sails a ball past Travis Kelce well above his head, gets picked off by the Chargers defender, and it doesn't end there because, unfortunately, something far more traumatic and tragic takes place. Patrick Mahomes puts himself in the line of fire and tries to make a tackle by falling down and trying to hit the defender low. But it's simultaneously, Chiefs star wide receiver RASHEE Rice strips the ball out so the defender adjusts his body right in time, and Patrick Mahomes' helmet goes right into RASHEE's right knee. So it was definitely salt on the wound, if you will. RASHEE couldn't put any pressure, any weight on his knee, ended up carting him off into the locker room and was immediately ruled out. And I want to stop right there because you guys know how valuable RASHEE Rice has been for this offense. I call it the Rice Patty connection. It has been in full tilt this year. We saw RASHEE, as we all know, last year around week 7, week 8. He started to really turn into a real commodity, a real asset for this offense because this Chiefs team had nothing, and I mean nothing, coming out of that wide receiver room. So RASHEE stepped up. He grew up quick, and he adjusted. He stopped dropping the damn ball, and he became an actual star in this offense. And this season, you saw it instantly. This man is becoming an absolute star in this league, and Patrick Mahomes was utilizing him to the fullest degree. We could put up that first stat, Trevor, about how important RASHEE is for this offense with Patrick Mahomes. You look at the Patrick Mahomes by wide receiver target. When he targets RASHEE Rice, Patrick Mahomes' touchdown interception ratio is 8-1. All others, 9-10. Yards per attempt, 9.2. All others, 7.0. Completion percentage, 76. All others, 58. In other words, I think this stat tells us a lot of things. One, Patrick not only clearly trusts RASHEE, but he trusts him because he's the only productive receiver the Chiefs have had over the last 20-some games. And I think that's a testament just to how great RASHEE has become and how he's progressed, but also just how bad this wide receiver room has been as well. Because I don't think those numbers indicate that Patrick Mahomes isn't a good quarterback unless he throws to RASHEE. It just shows you that he does not have clearly enough weapons, which is why the Chiefs were very active in pursuing Hollywood Brown. We heard that they were trying to trade for DK Metcalf, and now, once again, they're going to be in the market for a wide receiver, which we'll talk about in a minute. But see, this offense, and the Chiefs ended up scoring 17 points in this game, which is very low. It's about 6-7 points lower than what the Chiefs' average was coming into the game. So almost a full touchdown, just basically a full touchdown. It isn't just that RASHEE Rice is a good player and that he's valuable, and at whatever time that he's missed, and we'll talk about that in a second as well, is going to be a big hit. It's the fact that this offense, even with RASHEE Rice, is very mediocre this year. Trevor, let's go ahead and put up that next stat, if you will. This is from First Things First. So if you look right here, the Chiefs' offense this season averages 14. They're 14th in scoring. They're 14th in yards per game. They're 11th in pass yards per game, and they're tied for 15th in 20-plus yard completions. In other words, this is about as mediocre as this offense has ever been in Patrick Mahomes' era, and it's literally dead even amongst all teams in the NFL. This is why I always tell when people say, well, passing's down across the league. that I've never bought into that narrative here in Kansas City because not everybody has Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So I don't hold them to the same standard that I hold Daniel Jones and Brian Dable. I don't hold them to the same standards that I hold, give me any other quarterback head coaching duo. What's his name from Carolina?
Deontay Johnson.
And like Andy Dalton and that head coach. I don't hold them to the same standard I'd hold Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. That's unfair. There's a different standard here. And so what I'm now here to talk about, guys, in this situation is the Chiefs have to obviously get Rashee Rice back. We have to hope for the best here. And we're going to talk about that, like I said, in just a second. But even with Rashee returning, if that is in fact the case, this is showing us that this offense needs another weapon with or without Rashee. This is why Hollywood Brown was going to be such an imperative piece to this offense, because he was going to take pressure off Rashee. He was going to take pressure off Travis Kelce. He was going to allow Xavier Worthy to grow into his position, into his role earlier in his career, which Rashee didn't have that luxury last year. And this was going to be a big thing for Xavier. Now, Xavier Worthy's going to have to grow up really quick, and he's going to have to somehow become some sort of a volume receiver, even though I don't really think that's really his skill set. I think he's more of a, I don't want to say it negatively, take it more on the positive side, more of a boomer bust type of player. A Deshaun Jackson type of guy that takes the roof off of a defense and makes a big play here and there. That's kind of how I envision Xavier. I don't think he's ever going to be the guy that's getting 7 to 9 catches per game. Could be wrong.
That's what he was in college.
Sure, but I just think with the size difference in the NFL to the college game, you're not playing against future paralegals and dentists. You're facing against the best of the best. I just think it's a little bit of a different game. Yeah. And I just think, I'm not knocking Xavier. I love his game. I think he's a true NFL player.
Yeah, everybody's got their roles.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's going to be unfair to not only ask Xavier to play like a 4-year vet now, but become more of a volume receiver in the meantime.
Yeah.
Which is, again, why I truly believe the Chiefs have to be very aggressive. Guys, the Chiefs are in the midst of a potential three-peat. We all know this. And we all know that this is the most important part. But we need to see the Chiefs brass now show us how important that really is to them. And if you see right here, Trevor, the good news, I want to try to be optimistic here about the whole Rashee side of things, and we'll talk about what they could bring in his stead and potentially next to him later down this road. So from Pro Athletes Physical Therapy, Edwin Porras, we can put that up real quick.
Gotcha.
This is Edwin Porras. He is a founder of Pro Athlete Physical Therapy, formerly with the Twins, a medical analyst. So this he's an accredited doctor. I wanted to just show you guys his credentials before I just tell you what he says on this tweet. The next slide shows you what he says in regards to Rashee Rice's situation, because he talks about the on-field testing. When everyone was talking about how they feared that it was an ACL, all the reports were the Chiefs are fearing it's an ACL. No one confirmed that it was an ACL tear. They said they fear it because of the way that his body was reacting to said injury. And if you look at the second tweet on the bottom, the first tweet, rather, it says like 98% accurate what the field testing is. It's highly accurate. And the Chiefs initially thought it was an ACL tear, or at least they feared it was. But as time is going on and the swelling continues to go down, the MRI did not show anything of an ACL tear to this point, which should be the first thing you should be able to see on an MRI, whether there's swelling or not. This is the second part that Edwin talks about. He says, I'll be damned. Rice likely avoided an ACL tear. This is why we confirm with imaging. Still, if has a bone bruise and or PCL sprain, this could be 4+ week injury. Now, we obviously know that Rashee is now on the IR. He's going to be gone for at least 4 weeks. Yep. This is never an ideal situation, Trevor, but I will say just from a scheduling standpoint, this is probably the best time for this to happen because the Chiefs have a very winnable game this week. Then they have a bye week, and they have 2 games against 2 very banged-up teams in the Niners and the Raiders. So I think that this is a time where the Chiefs could probably live without Rashee Rice if there's ever a time they could do it.
Yeah.
But let's say, this is a 6 to 8 week injury. Then we are looking at a situation where the Chiefs have to, without question, go out and get not just a wide receiver. I'm hearing Darius Slayton. I'm hearing about, bringing back Demarcus Robinson. I'm hearing all these minor names they can bring in. That is not where the Chiefs need to be looking. Trevor, here's my top 5 receiving options that the Chiefs should be trading for that I put up just a few days ago. If we could put that one up real quick.
Gotcha.
So this is my list right here, guys, that I think the Chiefs need to be looking at. And I know there's some other bigger names that we'll talk about in a second, but I want to get your thoughts on this list real quick, Trevor, after I kind of break it down a little bit, and then we'll move on to the next couple of big names that their rumors are that the Chiefs are monitoring. So my top 5 options the Chiefs should trade for, obviously at the top is Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper, to me, is probably the best, most realistic option out there. The guy that makes both financial and talent sense at the same time. There's not a lot of guys out there that make both sense for the Chiefs, where it's from a financial perspective and a talent perspective. He may not fit the offense perfectly, but the veteran guy that he is and the talent that he has, I know Andy Reid can access it and get him antiquated to the offense and acclimated to the offense very quickly. And with him I think he's only owed about $1.2 million in salary. The Chiefs can absolutely absorb that and still be okay. And like I said, I think Amari Cooper, only 30 years old, being a guy who's been starving for a chance to win at the biggest level, this is a great opportunity for him to also be on a contract year, getting himself another contract elsewhere if he shines bright with the Chiefs and helps them, finish this three-peat. So he's obviously at the top of my list. You guys know I have an affinity for D-Hop. You guys know this is a dude for 2 years now. I've been banging the table because he's a guy that stylistically fits this offense very well. I know he's a 50-50 guy, but he's also a dude that runs routes unbelievably precise. He's one of the best route runners in the league, and he has arguably the best hands in the league. I do believe he's lost a step. He is 30. He'll be 32 this year. I know that DeAndre Hopkins may not be prime DeAndre Hopkins, but given the fact that he's also not going to be very expensive either, and a guy that's never won anything, which he's going to be motivated to go out there and try to help a team win, there's no situation better for D-Hop than Kansas City. Yeah. So that's why he fits right into my number 2 spot right behind Amari Cooper. Now, this is where my list gets a little interesting. I know people are confused because, one, the Seahawks are good. They're 3-1. Lost a shootout, a barn burner against the Lions, which seems like they always have shootouts. So people are asking me, why would you put Tyler Lockett on this list? Why would the Seahawks try to move off them? Well, for one, they tried to this offseason. They had him available, and the Chiefs were one of the teams that were interested in Tyler Lockett. JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba, has been taking a lot of his snaps. And we'll talk to Marcus Dash about that as well in a little bit because he's also been pointing this to me. He goes, hey, man, JSN's been taking a lot of Tyler's snaps. He doesn't look like the same guy. He's still really good, but maybe he's kind of on the outs with the Seahawks offense. The Seahawks could be looking at this and say, hey, we can unload a 32-year-old wide receiver that's got 2 years left on his deal for about $25 million total. The Chiefs could look at that as a blessing in disguise because, Trevor, what's one thing we know about RASHEE? 2 things. What do we know? 1, he's hurt, and he's probably going to be out at least a long time in either scenario that plays out. And 2, he's inevitably getting suspended next season. So there's a chance that the Chiefs may not see RASHEE until November or December of next season. So there's going to be a long time where the Chiefs don't have their primary target.
Yep.
You could invest in a veteran receiver to fill that gap that has 2 years left on their deal, and it's a very reasonable contract with only $25 million total left on it. You could restructure that. You could do all kinds of things with that contract. And you know that Tyler Lockett's a guy that plays every single week, runs routes great, has great hands, and never takes big hits.
Savvy veteran.
Yeah. So that could be a guy that you invest in for multiple seasons. And then there's Christian Kirk, who I think is an awesome fit for the Chiefs.
He fits right into that underneath role that RASHEE does.
And he's a burner.
Similar player, yeah.
Yeah, and he's an absolute burner. He can go down the field and take tops off defenses.
Yeah.
Now, he does have some injury concerns, so that's something to pay attention to, but the Jaguars are a terrible team.
All these guys do on this list.
Right, the Jaguars are a terrible team, and the negative side of this for the Jaguars is they would have to eat a lot of dead money if they traded Christian Kirk because they gave him that very lucrative deal. Yeah. But he's also another guy, like I said, that the Chiefs could be looking at and say, hey, we could have for multiple seasons. He's only 27 years old. Mm-hmm. This could even be a better move than Tyler Lockett.
He's played for Doug Peterson, who's in the similar system as Andy Reid as far as like play calling and certain play callers that are similar to our system. So I think it'd be a smooth transition for him.
And Doug's probably going to be on the Chiefs staff next season. So if we're being honest here, he's probably going to lose his job, unfortunately. I don't think it's necessarily his fault, probably but not, yeah. Doug Peterson will probably be back with the Chiefs next season. I think Matt Nagy might actually be getting a head coaching job, but we'll leave that for another time. But yeah, Christian Kirk, I think he fits the offense seamlessly. I think he makes a lot of sense for the Chiefs. Would the Jags be willing to eat that money? Dead cap side of things, I don't know. That's a debate for another time. But if they go 0-5, then I don't know if they really have a choice because they don't want to be paying an expensive wide receiver where they're talking about maybe getting a top 5 pick in the draft.
Right.
So, and then obviously number 5, I know this threw a lot of people off. Trevor probably will disagree with this one, but I'll let him tell me in a minute. Kyle Pitts. You guys just saw the game the Falcons had. Now, this might be a one-off, but Kirk Cousins was cooking. Bijan Robinson did nothing. But Kyle Pitts and Drake London did their thing. And it's weird, Trevor. How weird is it? You throw the ball to Kyle Pitts, and all of a sudden he looks good. It's weird. It's really weird how it works, man. You throw him the damn ball, and he makes plays. Could you imagine a 6'6", 246, 23-year-old with that talent in Andy Reid's offense lining up in the slot at tight end? I mean, I can't stand up right now because of it. It gets me excited, bro. Kyle Pitts, I refuse to give up on him. Do I believe he's going to be the player that he was drafted to be? No. I don't think he's going to be some all-time great tight end. I don't believe that. But do I think he's a guy that can get you 650 to 750 yards and 5 to 7 touchdowns? Yep. 100% yes. And if you added that into this offense and took that pressure off Travis Kelce, and he can absorb some of those snaps from Kelce and let him kind of work his way into the postseason time, that sounds like an ideal situation when you compare him up with Noah Gray. I know the Chiefs just brought Jody Fortson onto the active roster, but let's be real here about Jody Fortson. Dude's always hurt, and he doesn't have the talent of a Kyle Pitts. And I don't know what the Falcons would be asking to get in return for Kyle, but I can't imagine they think that they'd be getting a lot because he's on a rookie deal, final year of the deal, I might add, and he's been an underwhelming player statistically. So at best, you're probably giving up a 3rd or 4th round pick. And in my eyes, guys, that's a slam dunk move for the Chiefs. If you can get a 23-year-old that you can extend and build around in your offense for the foreseeable future at that frame and with that skill set, Andy Reid's offense, that's about as good. That about makes as much sense as any guy on this list. And again, I don't think he's going to be a superstar, but you can't expect to replicate what Travis Kelce is. That's never going to happen no matter who you go and get. So you got to go and get what's best out there. And I think that he would be, and we know that Andy Reid loves running 12 and 13 personnel with multiple tight end sets. This is a perfect guy for that type of offense. So that's why he makes my list over any other guy. I know Deontay Johnson makes a lot of sense. I would love him. I don't know how realistic that is because the Panthers are sick of pissing their fans off, and he's their only true option at wide receiver right now.
He's on the last year of his contract, man.
Sure, he's only 27, 28 years old.
His makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, so okay.
Johnson.
So go ahead and go react to this, and if you have a list, Trevor, tell me about it, man.
No, I mean, I don't have a list, but I do. The top of my list would be Deontay Johnson because I think he fits that role perfectly. He plays a similar role to what Rasheed Rice already does and has been doing in this offense. He's very good at creating separation. He's the last few years has been the best at creating separation in the league, up there with all the best elite receivers, the Justin Jeffersons and the Jamar Chases and all those guys at getting separation, the Amon-Ra's. He's right up with there, all those guys statistically. And you see what he's doing even when he's getting a shot in this Canales offense in Carolina. You know, he's eating right now. And that's with Andy Dalton. You can imagine Andy Reid's offense with Patrick Mahomes chucking the rock. So, and with another, superstar Travis Kelce out there alongside him, creating opportunities for him too. So I think Deontay Johnson would be my first pick. I mean, Amari Cooper would be an insane acquisition to this offense. He would bring a dynamic we haven't had in this offense since Andy Reid's been here. We haven't had a player that can win on the outside like Amari Cooper can. That would change this offense probably. I think that would create opportunities. Obviously, having him and Xavier Worthy on the outside, that'd be wild because that would open so much up for Kelce.
Yeah.
That would make me love Kelce even more this year because that would allow Kelce to do. You imagine you have to worry about Xavier Worthy's burner speed and Amari Cooper's ability to go win those 50-50 balls. That would be cool to see. I would love to have Amari. Obviously, I want Devontae Adams. That's on my list as well. I mean, that's more of a pipe dream one, but I'm sure we'll get to that in the show. But yeah, I like this list, man. I think Christian Kirk. For me, Christian Kirk and Deontay Johnson fit our system the best. I think they're really, really good after the catch. They're really good at getting separation underneath for those quick strikes on this offense, and that's what our offense has kind of become, more of a quick strike, get the ball out quick, not have to worry about Travis or Patrick Mahomes having to freelance it, kind of run through the air kind of offense. Yeah. That's what we've been doing with Rasheed a lot, and I think Deontay Johnson and Christian Kirk fit that role seamlessly, and they would be the best replacement kind of player, I think, in my mind. Tyler Lockett, obviously a savvy veteran. I love that pick. That would be great. We've been talking about him for a few years getting over here with his roots to Kansas City and all that. Yeah, man, Kyle Pitts would be a little lower on the list for me. I think I think we're good on our tight end situation right now. Not that he wouldn't be an upgrade because he would be a massive upgrade. He's better than Noah Gray. He's better than all the other guys on our roster. But I just go figure. Kyle Pitts finally has a good game when Kirk Cousins throws 55 plus times and the running game couldn't get going. So yeah, he's gonna have opportunity and it gets a terrible secondary. But yeah, I mean, situation was perfect this past game for sure, and he ate and he had a good game. And outside of being a 0-2 straight weeks in a row before this one, but yeah, maybe they're getting him ramped up for some trade bait, possibly. Who knows? I don't know. Kyle Pitts is probably never gonna happen, but I would love to have Kyle Pitts in this offense for sure. He would just be a little lower on the list for me. But the top of my list would definitely be Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk, Amari Cooper, and then throw Tyler Lockett in there, and then we probably go from there. But I think there's some other cheaper names out there that we can go after. I know the people have been talking about like Jalen Hyatt from the Giants, he hasn't really made his name known yet in this league. He was a higher draft pick, a solid production player in college. Darius Slayton, those Giants receivers, they tend to draft him. And then we did have a comment too. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Dustin. Let me see here real quick. Yeah, Dustin Norton. Where he was bringing in this name, Lance. Where does Dobbs from Green Bay fall in your wide receiver list? Because I don't know if you've seen the recent reports on Romeo Dobbs. He left the last 2 practices because he's frustrated with his role.
Yep.
I'm a big Romeo Dobbs guy. I like Romeo Dobbs because he plays like that underneath role, and he's kind of like a tight end / wide receiver the way he's used. And he's a big body guy. He's strong. He's pretty good after the catch. I'm a Romeo Dobbs fan. Yep. He's comes from a really good system, so he's you learn the LaFleur offense. Those guys tend to be good wherever they go because you learn a lot of cool little underneath things, little like sneaky things in offenses. So you can bring that skill set and that mindset to another offense. You can be utilized, especially in Andy Reid's offense. So I think that is a name to think about. I don't know what you talk about Romeo Dobbs.
That's a very good question. And shout out to the chat, by the way, all the people that are in here, guys. I mean, I'm seeing everybody, all the regulars, Dustin Norton, Ruben DeCruz, James D. Kirk, Julia Gulia. I see some good questions here that we were going to get to in a little bit, guys. Big Rick's back. Shout out, Bumblebee B. All the good people are back. Enrique. Appreciate you guys. Well, I for one, just from the naked eye of it all, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think he's got talent. Last year he had 8 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, like 650 yards, something like that.
Very productive player when he's utilized. That's why he's frustrated because he hasn't been used. But I mean, they just lost Christian Watson for maybe a few weeks.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, so that guy can't stay healthy. So I don't think they're going to trade him, to be honest.
No.
I think they need to hold on to him.
But in the scenario of trading for him, I am curious because they're going to probably want like a 3rd or 4th round pick in return for Romeo, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
What is it that's – because like you just praised LaFleur for what he's doing. He's been having an incredible season. He's been drawing up great offenses. What is it that's keeping Romeo from being a part of it?
I don't know. That's the weird thing. This situation's a little odd.
Yeah, because the reason why I don't have like George Pickens on my list is because of his talent.
Yeah.
It's because this dude can't catch the ball like a motherfucker. It's the fact this dude's got a lot of off-field stuff that I don't trust.
Yeah.
So we have to ask the question. I'm not accusing Romeo Dobbs of anything. I'm just saying, what is it from Matt LaFleur's perspective? You know that's what Andy Reid's going to ask.
Yeah.
That's his peer. Hey, Matt, what is it that, why is he not being implemented in your offense now? What's changed? You know what I mean? Especially with Christian Watson being
I think happens is I think they get him the ball more. I think they do this whole squeaky wheel thing because I think he's an integral part of their offense. Like I said, he plays like that second tight end underneath wide receiver kind of role.
Sure.
And obviously Jaden Reed's a budding superstar. I think Jaden Reed's going to become a star in this league. That kid's already burst onto the scene. So they got him and they got that Dontavian Wicks. They draft so many good receivers over there. Dontavian Wicks is
Steelers do too.
Probably going to go off again this week. That kid's nice. But I mean, that's a possible situation. But I think bringing it back to why we're even having this conversation, I think we're having this conversation speculatively because we don't know what the timetable is for RASHEE. Obviously, there's guaranteed 4 weeks going on the IR, but he's going to come back right after those 4 weeks because there's been reports about him walking around with just a leg sleeve. If he tore his ACL or really damaged his ACL, he's in a boot, or not a boot, but he's in an air cast probably.
Well, Trevor,
he's on crutches.
You've had knee injuries before.
I tore my MCL.
Dear friend Jordan Chamberlain had tore his ACL at Coffeyville. We've heard experiences of true knee injuries. Like I'm sitting across from a guy that's had true knee injuries. And I'd like to, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like I am one. I'm not going to, play, a guy from freaking ER here. I'm not on a set that's, to perform a surgery. But I'd like to believe, like you said, Trevor, if our guy's walking around with compression sleeve, no crutches, no air cast, no, not even, they said there was no limp.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that there's probably some avoidance to the major injury we assumed it was initially.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So in your mind, you think they need to make a move regardless if
he's back?
Okay.
Because here's the thing. 100% RASHEE, this offense was averaging 24, 25 a game. And they were struggling to score points. Even though he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
You could tell the offense was limited.
You don't think we could win games? Oh. Which I'm not saying that we can't, but I'm saying, like, you don't think we can chug this offense along with maybe some 2 tight end sets, get Noah Gray going more, get Juju in spurts, become more of a run-centric offense, which we've already kind of been a lot of ways. I mean, I know we tend to throw the ball still a lot, 30-plus times almost every week, but, I mean, Kareem looked good last week. I heard he's a little tight heading in practice this week because obviously he hasn't seen action like that, so he's dealing with that. And then getting maybe Clyde back in the mix here and maybe giving some second – obviously, P. Ryan's always a weapon.
Yeah.
Become more of a run-centric offense with this O-line. I'm sure they'll love that. Those guys love to run block. And one of the best O-lines in the league, so I think they'd have no problem doing that. But more like 13 personnel, 2 tight end sets, getting Noah Gray some underneath looks.
So this is what I'll say to that question, because I actually tweeted this out as well. No matter it, let's say tomorrow, Trevor, we hear that the Chiefs trade for a big-time receiver. RASHEE's still out.
Yeah.
So that means that you're basically just subbing him 1-for-1, which means the Chiefs are going to still, because what did I say, Trevor, that my theory on the offense so far this season with Hollywood Brown out, Isaiah Pacheco now out, Xavier Worthy still blooming. I think Patrick came into the season expecting to play like it was 2018 again, where he could chuck the ball downfield. Even Matt Nagy mentioned, he goes, we're going to throw downfield. We're going to have big plays, explosive plays. And it hasn't happened because those guys are all hurt.
Yeah.
Patrick almost feels like he's been trying to force that into play, into existence. Like speaking into existence with his arm. And it's not there. Yeah, it's not there. So no matter who they bring in, let's say they bring in some badass big-time needle mover. While RASHEE's still out, though, and Isaiah Pacheco, you're going to have to play a conservative style of offense, regardless, because that's the only way you're going to be able to keep your defense fresh.
Unless Xavier evolves quicker than you expect.
That's asking a lot, though.
Sure.
So you got to let that man develop. You know what I mean? So
pick. I mean, you better.
He's going to have to grow up regardless. You're right. He is a first-round pick.
We're seeing all these other first-round picks going off. Brian Thomas Jr. And
And you knew I liked a lot of those guys more because of the fact they're bigger, stronger receivers. But that's another conversation for another time. The point I'm making is, with Kareem Hunt, I think is the premier back now. I don't think there's any question. With Samaje Perine, I think Carson Steele's probably going to go to the practice squad. He keeps coughing up the ball. He's a good player, but he's coughing up the ball too much. He needs to refocus on his protection, ball protection. With Clyde coming back, I do think that the running game is going to be more. There's going to be much more of a balanced attack, as it should be, until they get more of those weapons back on the outside.
We haven't gotten Perine involved in the passing game yet, and that's his specialty.
And Kareem will as well. So I'm saying that the passing game is always going to be. Patrick's going to get 35 pass attempts a game without question, but it's going to have to be more of a check down, bubble screen,
maybe get McColl more
slant
involved.
routes. Yes, more of the gimmicky stuff until you have RASHEE and that dude. Because imagine RASHEE not hurt, Hollywood Brown never got hurt.
Yeah.
We both know this offense would be throwing the ball. They'd be chucking the ball all over the field.
Yeah.
Because you have the guys. They don't have the guys right now. So to answer your question, I think it's without question, they're going to play more of a conservative style of offense and let the defense win the games right now. Just like they did last season. It sucks. It's not fun for us either. The quality of the games aren't as fun. Like last game wasn't fun either. It was honestly a really shitty game.
Yeah.
Outside of the one throw to Xavier Worthy, which was gorgeous, by the way. Patrick threw an absolute dot. But you're not going to get that every week because defenses are going to continue to play cover 2, cover 3. So you're going to have to make them respect the run game.
Yeah.
And then have single man coverages, and that's when you send Xavier, or that's when you send McColl, your burners and guys like that. So until they make a move, that's how they're going to have to play offense, because they're going to play low scoring games, ugly games, and let your defense, which by the way, Chris Jones has been the best player on this team this season.
My goodness.
Let them continue to lead the way right now until your offense gets healthier. That's the only way I look at it. And to answer, to talk about RASHEE, Trevor, I do believe right now, maybe I'm just being overly optimistic about this. I do think he's playing again this season. I think if it was an ACL tear, we would have already found out.
Well, we got Bumpa BB's comment here, just in the same vein, just so we can go along with that. He goes, I don't want to hurt your guys' hopes, but there's a good chance Rasheed has a partially torn ACL.
Yeah.
That can't be seen on MRI. That still needs a full ACL surgery. Hope for the best.
That's why he's going to get the scope.
That is a possibility.
That's why he's going to get the scope. And most times scopes are for older players. They're not usually for 24-year-olds. So we know they're being very extensive with this. They're being very detailed with this because we know the Chiefs know they need RASHEE. Yeah. They need him. So yes, I do believe that they're looking for all the options and all the opportunities to get him back on the field as soon as possible. But again, just the way things have gone, I think the Chiefs are trying to be realistic about it. But I do believe if he had a torn ACL, we'd already known about it. I really do believe that. We've seen 100 times over, Trevor, when guys tear their ACL, that next day or that day after that, reports are that guy tore his ACL. And you don't think they had swelling on their knees? Come on, man! All that fluid buildup and things of that nature.
I don't know. This is unprecedented. This is unprecedented. This is uncharted territory for me. This is a very rare occasion. We haven't seen this a lot. Usually, it's pretty quick.
Isn't it weird that RASHEE suffers such a rare injury and Hollywood Brown suffers the most rare injury?
Yeah,
the SC joint
in the worst way. Yeah,
yeah. It's how,
because usually you'd be recovering. I mean, Tyreek had the same injury. Remember, it was back in 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, that was the AC joint.
Yeah,
they thought it was the AC joint with Hollywood. It ended up being the SC joint, which never gets,
and it didn't heal properly.
Yeah, it didn't heal properly. Yeah. So that's why he couldn't play. They thought he was going to be back in like 2 weeks, and he ends up coming back never. So yeah, it's been a rough situation, a rough go for the Chiefs offense so far. That's why I said at this point, man, you got to play ball protection. Keep everything and like Julie Gulli asked, about the red zone efficiency.
Yep.
That's where that's their biggest struggles right now. They got to quit getting cute when they're there. Keep running the ball. Go with the hits. I always say it, Trevor. Don't I say it? Go with the hits.
Yeah.
Put on some Marvin Gaye. Put on the vinyl. Don't be playing, NBA Schoolboy or don't be playing trap music. Play some Marvin freaking Gaye, dude.
NBA Schoolboy, bro.
Whatever the fucking, I don't even know his name. Juice WRLD. Go play some. Don't play Juice WRLD.
R.I.P. Juice WRLD.
Yeah, don't play King Von. Play some freaking R.I.P. him too. But all the R.I.P.s.
Oh man.
Play some freaking Gladys Knight. You know what I'm saying? Play some stuff, aka freaking HB Power. Damn it. Play some Marty Ball.
Yeah, I do want to see us become a run centric offense, at least right now. Just give it a shot. You know what I mean? Like, we know this defense is elite, and this defense has already been winning those games even when we haven't been a run centric offense.
Yeah.
I think if Kareem Hunt can keep, with that juice, and Clyde could come back with some, some scat back stuff that he's known to do, and P. Ryan could be what he's been. Andy Reid can make this situation work. I want to see more. I want to see more Noah Gray. That's where I'm kind of at. Like, I want to see. Because we know that dude can do work after the catch. He's pretty spry after the catch. So you get him in some space. Him and Travis Kelce have these linebackers and DBs having to worry about.
Well, I'm a size queen.
Big ass guys.
I like guys 6'5" dudes catching passes. I'm all for it, dude.
And we did bring back Jody Fortson. I think they elevated him to the roster.
Yeah.
So he's on the roster right now.
Yeah, I think it's because of Jared Wiley not developing. I think that's the biggest reason why.
I mean, possibly. We kind of knew he was going to come along slowly. Yeah. He's a protege for Travis Kelce, I think, to mold, but. Yeah. Jody Fortson, I think, talking about red zone efficiency, we've seen that guy be an absolute weapon in the red zone with Patrick Mahomes before. So, I mean, maybe that could be something. He doesn't need to go catch a lot of balls. He's not like an incredible after-the-catch kind of guy. But red zone, I think you could throw that giant bastard to, a couple 50-50 balls in the end zone. I like his odds.
Well, before we have our guy Marcus Dash come on the show, there's a couple other names I want to bring up real quick. We got to talk about it because it's being talked about. We heard the rumors that the Chiefs are monitoring, quote-unquote, the situation with Davante Adams. Now, first of all, I don't think this one's very likely that the Raiders will trade Davante Adams to the Chiefs, but Nick Wright made a great point on the show the other day that where the Raiders are and where the Chiefs are, they're in completely opposite ends of the spectrum as far as where they're headed. This actually makes a lot of sense for the Raiders to trade him to the Chiefs because you want to put the Chiefs with as many veterans with cap situations up that way while you're trying to grow your situation and become a better team.
Raiders don't even have their quarterback yet.
Right. So right now as it stands, you'd have to pay Davante Adams if you traded for him about $17 million in base salary. Chiefs can't do that right now.
Yeah.
Which means the Chiefs would have to probably wait a few more weeks for that to happen and bring down that base salary due to payments, and then they could try to make the trade. We're also hearing the Raiders are looking for a second-round pick. I don't know if that's going to happen either. Depends on who's going to end up trading for him. We're hearing the Saints and Jets are the leaders of the pack right now. But I put a poll here, Trevor, because there's a reason why I put it. And wouldn't you know it, we can put that up there real quick. There's over 1,200 votes on Twitter. I think it's just about to end or it's still going right now because I posted it yesterday. But the question I asked to Chiefs fans was, if the Raiders were willing to trade Davante Adams, would it require the Chiefs to give up their 2025 first-round pick? Would you do it? Look how close this is, Trevor.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's almost 50-50. But to the people that voted no, I have one simple question. What the hell are you thinking? I'm sorry. I don't mean to criticize anybody that's against the idea of trading a first-round pick for a player. But guys, where do you think the Chiefs end this season? At worst. Probably the AFC Championship, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That means they're probably going to have the 30th overall pick. Trevor, the Chiefs have had the 30th overall pick or later in the first round 3 times in Brett Veach's career. Those players, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, George Karlaftis, Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Which of those players would you take over Davante Adams? Not a single one. And I love George. I'm a fan of Clyde's, and I have belief in FAU.
Yeah.
Davante Adams is a first ballot Hall of Fame receiver who's 31 years old right now. There is not a question.
Who's hungry, wants to win.
There is not a question in my mind, Trevor, that I would give up a late first-round pick,
bro,
for Davante Adams. You said this yesterday in our
text.
text.
You already know my answer, bro. Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Without a blinking, bro.
If the Chiefs had a top 5 pick, yeah, obviously you don't trade that. But we all know the Chiefs at worst are going to have the 30th overall pick in this draft next year.
Early second round pick, basically. That's all
Exactly.
It is. That's all it is. It's overrated, man.
So draft capital does matter, guys, but when you're in the midst of what the Chiefs are building right now, a three-peat, you have to be all in. And you have to be willing to sacrifice draft assets, especially, like I said, when Trevor said, a glorified second-round pick for a guy that can literally change the entire infrastructure of this offense. Davante Adams is the best route runner in the league. This dude, Trevor, you can attest to this.
For a long time.
I have been saying for 2 years that Davante Adams might be still the best receiver in the league. I've been saying this because with bad quarterbacks, this dude's putting up 11 to 1,400 yards and 12 to 15 touchdowns with bad quarterbacks.
I mean, it's taken a lot of volume to get him there because it's been terrible volume.
But he's always available.
Junk volume, but yeah.
And he has incredible hands, incredible route running. He's got enough burst in his feet still.
One of the best 50-50 ball guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's savvy as hell, man. He knows how to play. I'm telling you guys, there isn't a draft pick I wouldn't give up for this three-peat. That's what I'm trying to say. And we also heard the name, and our guy Marcus Dash will be here in a minute, so I'm trying to get this through before he jumps on because we have some questions for him. We also saw Trevor, our guy 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺 on Twitter. He put up the favorites to land Tyreek Hill. And would you look at it? Who's at the top of the list, Trevor?
I mean, it makes the most sense.
I was talking to our former co-host Eddie Ortiz yesterday about this because I also don't think this is likely.
Shout out to Eddie.
Shout out to Eddie. I don't think this is likely either, that the Chiefs get Tyreek Hill back.
Yeah.
But, Bovetta, Vegas knows something.
But
why are the Chiefs at the top of the list?
If the Dolphins continue if they lose one more time, their season's basically over.
And I know that they would
Who
ask
is
for
not
a
back
haul.
till week 8, 9, 10.
But I just said that I would give up a first-round pick for Davante Adams. Tyreek Hill is better than Davante Adams right now, I think, in my opinion, or close to it.
Well,
they're like neck and neck.
It's the better fit, too, because
Yes.
obviously we know what Tyreek can do in this offense.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
and he's
It would be
healthy.
How happy, and we saw how happy and gleeful Kareem was to be
Right.
back here. Imagine Tyreek coming out like, let's get this ring, baby. Like,
And the storyline of him helping
coming
start
back,
this dynasty,
bro.
you know what I mean? Like
Finishing the three-peat with Tyreek would be
It makes so much
insane.
sense for the Chiefs. Now, I have to ask the people that are watching the show right now or watching it later, what would you be willing to give up for Tyreek Hill?
Right.
I know some people still have sour feelings. Guys, put that shit aside. It's about winning.
I'd sell a nut for sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. Like, I mean, give them that first round pick. First of all, that pick's gone. You guys want that Titans third round pick? Give them that too, because it is all about winning this Super Bowl and finally, because guys, what this does, winning this Super Bowl makes the Chiefs the greatest dynasty in the history of the NFL and one of the greatest dynasties in sports history.
Yeah.
This is about history, guys. When all of us are gone, this stays forever. And it's always going to be there. So if you can go and get a guy like this, you better believe the Chiefs are making the calls. You better believe
Tyreek
Brett Veach is doing what he
He needs
can.
to come home, man.
Yeah.
KCPD, we won't do you like that, bro. So
Well, we can be a little ridiculous on the show, especially myself. I can be a little hyperbolic, which is why we gotta
not you.
we gotta bring the balance into the equation. Which is why we have to dash to our next guest. And he is a guy I don't even consider a guest. He's a brother. He's a dear friend of mine. Talk to the dude damn near every single day. He has the best podcast in the freaking Chiefs community. He's next to the guy that we know as JD or Jason Dunn, Mr. Dunn. This is an awesome show, awesome people, and whenever we get a chance to get him on the show, we take full advantage of it. I talked to him yesterday, and he said, let's fucking do it, bro. So we're fucking doing it. Let's give it up for the one, the only, Mr. Marcus Dash. What's up, Marcus?
What's up, fellas?
What's up, man?
What up, Puddin'? How you doing?
I gotta say, man, your introductions for me are probably the best introductions. If I ever have if I ever have a spin-off show where it's just about me giving my opinion, I want you to I have to take snippets of your introductions for me because those are phenomenal.
Feel free. No copyrights on this bad boy. You got it, man. You do what you got to do. Marcus, we got to get to business, man. We got to talk here. And first of all, I appreciate you taking some time out of your Saturday. I know you guys do shows like every damn day. So I know this is a time for you to maybe breathe, hang out with your girl, but you gave us some time, and we very much appreciate you, bro. Look, man, things are good in Kansas City. The Chiefs are 4-0, but you and I, Trevor, we're all realists here. We know that there are some holes and some problems that this team has right now, and obviously the whole RASHEE Rice situation is the biggest thing. I want to start there. What are you expecting? Because I know you guys had Dr. Cho. I think that's how you say his last name. You guys had him on the show recently. He expanded on these things, his theories, his beliefs on what's happening. But I want to get your thoughts, your opinions on this, man. What do you think the end result's going to be? Do we see RASHEE Rice again this season, or is this looking like a 2025 return to you?
So based on what I believe it's Dr. Chow, and we've had some people like make comments about like Ken Jeong and Leslie Chow on our YouTube comments. Different spelling of the last name, but it's Dr. Chow, I believe. Yeah, I know. But I will say Ken Jeong, he's a real doctor in real life, so there's a lot of parallels there with the Chow last name and Hangover. But based on what the doctor said, it sounds like he pretty much said, I know there was a whole conspiracy there, and I saw like Jason McIntyre on Coward's show was pretty much saying this whole thing, and like he kind of said that in a way where it was like there being too much swelling for an MRI and not to show if there is ligament damage with the ACL, if it's a torn ACL or not, is bullshit. He said that, apparently that's when you have an MRI and there's swelling there, that pretty much is like having with contrast. It pretty much will show it. It'll show you have a torn ACL. And it was the fact they never said anything about it being a tear. Leads me to believe there's not a tear. We just don't know what the extent of it is. And obviously that's where we're going to find these tests out this week of what the different types of ligaments. They might have to do a scope to see what's going on in there. But it sounds like it's going to be a long time. And if he does come back, like what, playoffs maybe. So I think it's a long-term thing. It's just, I think I've seen some fans say, is there any way we can talk to the NFL about like giving him a suspension while he's out with his injury? Like it doesn't work that way. So wherever fan thinks that, yeah, it'd be fantastic. But yeah, I think he's gonna be gone for a while. So I think buckle in, man. Let's get ready for Juju, Sky, McColl. I mean, I don't even know McColl's not even gonna play this week. So Justin Watson, all the Avengers are coming out, man. They're we got them.
You mentioned the name Sky Moore. If you excuse me, I'm going to go barf real quick because I think he has one target on the season. He dropped it. And I don't know if you heard this or not, but reports were up there in the press box. They sit in front of the Chiefs brass or like underneath. When Sky Moore dropped that ball, according to the press, and this is several different people, they heard a loud bang on a table and they turned around and it was Brett Veach walking out of his office. He was so pissed off about the Sky Moore drop. So I think it's over for Sky Moore. I know JD, he's the ultimate optimist. He's always like, oh, no, I believe in him. I have lost all hope. I was the guy on record that said in training camp of his rookie year, I think this kid will be special. He's been anything but that. I think it's time to move on, which is why, you're not going to replace what RASHEE Rice is to this offense. RASHEE is one of the most unique receivers in the league. His ability to get yards after catch, break tackles, the way he runs, he's a very unique talent. So you're not going to just find a guy just to replace him. But there are names out there that the Chiefs can go and get. And if we could put the list up there real quick, Trevor, so Marcus can see it in case he hasn't. This is my current top 5 of where I think the Chiefs need to be looking. And it's a little bit more of an unorthodox list, but I explained in great detail why these guys are on my list. And you and we talked in our own private time about Tyler Lockett, who we're both big fans of. We'd love to see him in the Chiefs uniform. I'm sure he's on your list, but where do you agree with this list? Or you see it a little bit differently? Because we know the Chiefs have to go and get a name. And I don't believe it needs to be a DeMarcus Robinson or a Darius Slayton, a guy that doesn't really make any change for the offense. It needs to be a guy that they know can be a difference maker in this offense, which I think could be on this list, or even a bigger name that we could talk about in a minute. But where do you stand right now on where the Chiefs are going to try to take a stab at a receiver?
So obviously, I think of this list, I would say Mark Cooper's obviously the best one. He's the biggest difference maker of all these guys on here. I know people have posted clips of him dropping passes. I mean, whatever. I mean, the receiver, he drops passes, but he also is probably one of the best, if not the best route runner in the NFL. And I think a guy like that who's as polished as he is to be in an Andy Reid offense would be special. I really do think so. And he's only slated to make $900,000 the rest of the year. So it's based on the Brett Veach bargain bin shopping, that price tag, that's right up his alley. That's a Black Friday sale for him. So I think that's perfect. D-Hop, well, you and I and JD were huge D-Hop fans. 2 years ago? Was it last year? It was last year, right?
Time flies, doesn't it?
I know, man. Jesus. D-Hop, I love D-Hop, but the fact that he's playing on an MCL right now, an MCL injury right now, he's playing through it. That's why if you look at his snap counts, they're not high at all. He's barely playing. So they're trying to work him in slowly. It's like, I don't want to replace a guy who's got a torn knee for a guy who's got, an MCL issue as of right now. Although I love D-Hop, that just really gives me pause big time. Tyler Lockett, I love Tyler Lockett, but as we talked about on the side, it's like while he is getting less reps compared to JSN because they're trying to make him be the guy at the slot, they are still a team that a lot of people are picking to win the NFC West as a dark horse and also make the playoffs. So, like, why would they trade him, right, for a draft pick? I mean, that's right. That can really help them. Christian Kirk, I like Christian Kirk. That's probably I think Cooper would be the best one. I think it's the most realistic based on his price tag. But Kirk gives me something that I'll explain after this. Kyle Pitts, I love Kyle Pitts, but I don't think, I mean, wait, we're going to add the 15th tight end to our room. I mean, really, how many tight ends are we going to carry on this roster, man? It's not going to solve any fucking issue. Sorry.
Right.
Pardon my French there.
No, say it. Fuck.
So Christian Kirk, that's the one, it's an intriguing one, was because Andy said this week at a press conference talking about, like, I want guys who know the offense or whatever. He made some kind of comment about knowing the offense, the intricacies of the offense. Kirk comes to the Doug Peterson system, which is by and large the Andy Reid system in a way. So I'm sure there's similar verbiage there, and I'm sure it would not take long to acclimate to our offense. And I think the way they use him is the way that ideally I think they wanted to use Sky more. I mean, because Kirk can play a little bit of everything, but like, I mean, that guy's a possession hog, man. He's a target hog. So I think Kirk would be great. Another guy, you mentioned him, not a needle mover, but Darius Slayton. Look at his numbers, man. Not bad for being on that horrible, shitty Giants offense. Well, 3 of the 4 years, or 4 of the 5 years, he had 700+ yard receiving, which pretty damn good. I mean, I think wouldn't that be like a top 2 leading receiver for us for the last few years, just from the receiving standpoint? And that's coming from the Giants system, which god awful play calling, god awful everything over there. But his offensive coordinator for the last 2 years has been Mike Kafka, who is our QB's coach. So that is, I'm sure there is some shared like verbiage there too. So like, while it's not the same system, the Giants, Brian Daboll is running the same Andy Reid system. I'm sure there's some similarities to the verbiage there that there's an overlap where, you know, he could come in and realize some of the stuff that Kafka was doing was Andy Reid stuff. So maybe there's something there, but my top would be Cooper just based on talent. And I think he's a guy who can just be plug and play. And then Kirk and then Darius Slayton would be the top 3 of the realistic ones. I know you guys, like, I came in when you guys were talking about Tyreek Hill and the Devontae Adams stuff. Obviously, Adams, no, it's not happening. But Tyreek Hill, it brings up a good question, though, because I've seen a lot of people at Chiefs Game debating this. And you guys kind of got at it a little bit. It's like, are we playing for a three-peat? Like, is that what we're going to do, put all our chips to the table for the three-peat? Or do you go ahead and mortgage the future, like the future draft picks, which have been so essential to these runs we've been going on? Do you say, fuck it, let's trade first, let's trade third, let's trade fourth, let's go get Tyreek, bring him back to solve the offensive issues that we're having as far as not having a guy on offense? Or do you say, no, let's do what we've done the last 2 years? It's like, let's make the best of what we got. Let's try to win it the hard way, win it with, like, you know, guys who are, you know, aren't the best at receivers in the NFL, but we're going to try to win with what we got. And, you know, whatever happens. Right. Or like you said, or is it you fucking trading the chips, those assets to get Tyreek? I mean, I think it's a very interesting conversation because this is stuff that happens in basketball in the NBA. Not so much an NFL problem. This is stuff that happens in the NBA for teams that want to make that run for that year because their window is open for that year. Yeah. Our window is open for a long time because of Mahomes, but for the 3P window, that's right now. So it's just a different thing that you don't really used to in the NFL. Well,
you would solidify yourself as the greatest dynasty ever if we pulled this off. I think that means a lot too. So and I think there is a way to do both. Obviously, I think Hollywood Brown's gonna be back next year. You know, I think we'll figure out a way to bring him back for another year because this one was just kind of a wash. And even if we do trade, you know, a first or a second or a third round pick and maybe a piece, maybe a Sky Moore for Christ's sake, package him together with something. Go get Amari Cooper. Go get Deontay Johnson. Go get one of these guys. Go get a Darius Slayton on the cheap. That could be maybe a future piece. Could be a guy that we can extend and keep him around. So I think there's a way we can find a way to be competitive and better this offense and be all in and still be all in on the future as well. Like you said, we have Andy Reid, we have Patrick Mahomes. You know, we still got young pieces on this defense that this defense is going to be good for a long time, especially as long as Spags is here. But I think being all in this year is where I'm more leaning. That's where I'm at. I think trying to go get another piece here to be all in this year. Because I think, listen, man, not every team gets a chance. Not every fan base, not every organization gets a chance to have this kind of opportunity. You know, there's been teams that have been close and they failed. And I think if looking at hindsight, that they want to be a little bit more all in at that time, they probably They probably would have, looking back on it. So
I'm-
I think
I'm-
being
I'm-
all in makes a lot of sense.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on the all-in trades and transactions for guys like Darius Slayton. That's not going to break our back. What are we going to trade a 5th-round pick for Darius Slayton?
Right.
I mean, that's not going to break our back. I'm talking about the people who think trade the whole to kind of rewrite history for the Dolphins to trade. Oh, we traded you this. We want a 1st-round pick. We want a 2nd-round pick. We want a 3rd-round pick. We want all that back to get Tyreek Hill. Sure, I think that's ridiculous, I get that aspect. It's like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. We want Tyreek Hill back. We want to win right now. We want to win this year. But you're mortgaging the 1st-round pick next year, a 2nd-round pick the following year, a 3rd-round pick. That's what I'm talking about, mortgaging assets. Mortgaging a 5th-round pick or conditional 4th-round pick for Darius Slayton.
Upside players.
Or 3rd-round pick for Cooper. The only problem with Cooper is he wants to get paid, and we're not going to pay. I don't think we're going to pay him if we got him. So that would be a 1-year rental for a 3rd-round pick. Whereas,
and also, I think fit matters. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I mean, Amari Cooper obviously is an upgrade no matter where he goes. He's gonna make every offense he joins better. But I think guys like Christian Kirk, I think guys like Tyler Lockett, I think guys like Deontay Johnson, who's my favorite, by the way. That's my favorite guy to go get. I think those underneath guys that are really good after the catch, in my opinion, will fit that vacancy of the RASHEE role, in my opinion. So I think this offense has been running that way, and it was running fairly good enough with the way RASHEE was playing. I think those kind of guys fit better into that role, unless we're looking to go a different route, and extend Xavier Worthy's more, channeling the offense more to his abilities, what he can do to open it up. But I think those more underneath guys, better yak guys, rather than an outside guy like Amari, fit better in this offense. That's where I'm at.
I think you're right. 100%. I think as far as fit for our offense, I think you're right. I think those other guys fit the offense way better than they do. Amari Cooper, JD said the same thing. On a purely talent, if we're talking like ratings, if we had to rate these guys like on like a ratings meter, Amari Cooper's the far better receiver overall. But those other guys, Christian Kirk would be phenomenal in this offense.
Yeah.
Well, let me add this real quick because I love this conversation we're having right now because, do you dive all in for this 3-peat, the chance at it, or do you kind of take a more of a balanced approach? More than likely, it's door number 2, the Chiefs take. For me, I see it like this, this might sound nuts, but I think you both will make sense of what I'm saying. I'd rather the Chiefs win this year and miss the playoffs next season than not win this year and win the Super Bowl next season.
For sure.
Because this is going to solidify the greatest dynasty ever, as we've said, and I think that there needs to be a little bit of a desperation move on the Chiefs side of things because RASHEE is not, like I said, you can't overcome that. Like last year, the Chiefs overcame a bad wide receiver room because they had RASHEE. He came about, and Travis Kelce went nuclear in the postseason. And people are like, well, the Chiefs did it that way last year. They can do it again. Maybe, but you can't just expect that every year where that's just you're gonna keep replicating the same way of winning. So if there was some weird where the Dolphins are like, hey, we want your 1st, we want one of your 3rds, and we want your 5th. If that's what it took, I think you have to do that move. I mean, do you agree, Marcus, or do you think that's too rich?
You're talking for Tyreek Hill, like a talent like
that? Because I mean, the Chiefs have 2 3rd-round picks. They have that Titans pick they got, looking better and better.
I would do it. I don't think they would do that. I mean, I think they're going to want to get us pretty good for Tyreek.
Yeah.
Like even though he's older and he hasn't lost a step, but he's older than he was. Like the asset is decreased if you look at the age and the injuries. But yeah, I think they're going to want a haul for him just to get it back. But I would definitely do that. I just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I don't think with the cap situation, he's making a lot. He's due to make a lot more, right, coming up. So it's to do that would mean you're not going to pay Bolton. You're not going to pay Trey Smith, right? I mean, unless Juwan Taylor takes, we work around his contract. You do some restructures here and there with guys. But I mean, they have salary cap guys. They can make all that stuff work. But I would do that. Yeah, you're right. And also, too, the storyline would be amazing, dude. You bring back Tyreek on the same year. You bring back Kareem Hunt. To have to win because dude, that year when Kareem Hunt got suspended, was that our first Super Bowl year? Was this?
No, it was 2018. They lost in overtime to the Patriots.
So you're bringing back Kareem and Tyreek to come back to be this united team that we should have had that year, right? to win this year together to complete a three-peat. I mean,
How poetic.
The story would be unreal. Like that's stuff that's like best of times type stuff, like movie stuff. Shit. That's like doesn't happen. So if they could do that, I would love that. But we're talking about moves around the margins, which we're probably going to do. I think that's Adrian Wojnarowski thing that he would say with teams that weren't going all in, but they're making moves around the margins. A move around the margin is the Darius Slaytons of the world, is the Christian Kirks of the world. So potentially Tyler Lockett. So if you're a Chief fan, you want some of these guys. You want Jags to lose tomorrow. You want them to go 0-5. You want Seattle to continue. You want Seattle to start on a losing streak. You want Giants.
Cleveland,
yeah. You want Cleveland to continue to lose. You want the Giants to lose. I mean, you need those things to happen for these teams to kind of shell out these guys. But I would love Tyreek Hill, but I just don't think that's not going to happen. I don't think. But a lot of fans would say Kareem Hunt was never going to happen. But you and I were still talking about for the last 3 years. But
we never gave up, baby.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
That's actually what I want to kind of piggyback off you segueing to that point, because, I mean, there's no other way of putting it. Kareem looked incredible last week. Now, you can say that was a broke-down Chargers team, which is true, but his first real NFL action in a long time, and he looked spry, he looked fresh, he was hard to hit, he was hard to tackle, and to me, I think he's the premier back for the Chiefs for the foreseeable future until Isaiah Pacheco comes back. Now, I'm not expecting Kareem to have games like that every week, but I think he's a guy that is opportunistic. I think he's a guy now that he's healthy from that sports hernia that he did suffer last year. You could tell he was different last year. People thought he was washed. I never did. I never gave up on him. I believe this dude's an insanely talented running back, and in this offense, you're seeing it already. So I think he will be a guy the Chiefs lean on, while they have to, and I think he can be a guy that can help them carry and tread the water until either a RASHEE is back and they go and pick up another guy, or both. We never know. But yeah, man, I wanted to get your thoughts on what you saw from Kareem this last week, and if you think it's going to be more of the same moving forward from him.
Yeah, as there's the hunt for Red October, man. Right when he comes out, he's going to get a start this week in October. Well, hopefully he plays, man. We had limited practices, but like he's playing. Yeah. That guy's like playing for a future in the NFL. Like he's going to give his heart out to the Chiefs and just to show everybody that he's still here. I mean, when you're laying down the law, exactly. When you're laying down comments like, I'm still that same guy from 6 years ago. Okay. Yeah. You're not, but if you really think so, man, go do your thing. Go show the world.
Love the confidence.
I love it. And dude, he looked damn good last week. Like everyone's like loving the Carson Steele story. It's like, it was a good story, but come on, it's not, he's not Kareem Hunt. Like there's a reason why they list him as a fullback. And it's interesting. He's a fullback, but he can't really block. So it's like, okay, why is he listed as a fullback then? That doesn't make any sense to me. But Hunt looked amazing last week. He looked like that guy that he was. I mean, back in the day for us. I mean, his burst, dude. I mean, his burst off the snap, like his cuts. I mean, dude, he looked so good last week. And on top of that, like people want to say all the metrics that he looked like shit last year in Cleveland. Okay, he looked like shit, but he still had 9 rushing touchdowns. I mean, like
right.
Not anyone just doing that. I know, like, I saw some people cite, like, Lindell White had 15 rushing touchdowns. He was overweight. It's like, okay, well, I mean, he's still in a niche. He was still the smash to Chris Johnson's dash. I mean, like, so, I mean, he's still in a niche, but yeah, sports hernia injury, but he still had 9 touchdowns. And, like, the beauty about Hunt is, like, yeah, he's battled with weight issues. Like, have you noticed, like, over the last few years? And I don't know if that was, a thing they were doing with him and Show where they wanted him to be more like bulkier, like heavier, but it looks like he's cut down in weight. He's not that heavy as he was in Cleveland. And also too, he's been like a RB2 for the last like 6 years. Yeah. Like he left, but he was never a feature back after he left. So like the wear and tear of like a normal 27-year-old running, or how old is he? 27, 28?
29 now.
He's just turned 29 this year. Yeah.
So like the normal wear and tear of a 29-year-old running back, he doesn't really have that because he hasn't been a feature back since 2018, since that Monday night game against the Rams. He hasn't been that guy since that night. He's been come in spot duty for Chubb, but never consistently been that guy. So like he doesn't have that wear and tear. Yeah, like he had sports hernia. Sure, he looks fine. Everyone's making a big deal. Oh, he's already hurt. It's like, no, the guy hasn't played in 5 months, and he wasn't expected to get 17 touches last week. And they threw him in the games. Like, oh, we're riding the hot hand. Kareem, it's your baby. What? I literally just got here. I thought I was gonna get like 5 touches today, but no. And he looked great with those touches he got. I mean, like that's the thing. It's like JD always talks about. Like, there's one thing to practice, but when you get into games, it's a different type of pain and different type of day after, especially when you're a guy who hasn't played for like 6 months or however long it's been. And then, like, he comes into a game where he's expecting 5 touches and he gets 17 or 16 touches. No shit, he's going to be sore. He's going to have some kind of injury. Like, he's practicing. He's not out. It's a limited participant. And I didn't like the whole, like, it's just weird how the Chiefs kingdom, like the reporters and the content creators, everyone kind of blows up stuff to a certain point. And it's like the Kareem Hunt thing, for example. It's just like the discourse is just so different. Like Goldman, who I love, Charles, but he writes that like weird thing in that article. It's like, oh yeah, CH is coming back at a great time because you'll find out tomorrow that Kareem Hunt is on the injury report. Like, oh no, like, what the hell? Like it was like weird too because you had to dig through a CH report that he's coming back at the opening of the 21-day window to find out that Kareem Hunt's going to be on the injury report tomorrow. And
right.
You see Andy's presser the next day, like, oh, yeah, everyone practiced today. It's like, well, Kareem Hunt, they were lying about the Kareem Hunt report. Then you see he was limited. It's like, see, I told you he was limited. So it makes a whole big thing about this limited injury that he had. That's probably not that big of a deal. He'll probably play Monday. And then you go to like Yahoo, like the Yahoo fantasy thing, and you go to Kareem Hunt's little blue and white thing. It's like, oh, Kareem Hunt, he should be slated to be the RB1 on Monday night. It's a limited participant, but he had 15 touches last week. He's just getting back in the swing of things. He'll be fine. It's like the Yahoo guys have a better outlook on this than our own people. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. It's ridiculous. Why are our beat reporters like making such a big deal about a limited participant in a practice? Whereas like Yahoo guys who don't give a shit about this stuff, they're like, he's fine. Like common sense tells you that he had 16 touches after not touching a ball for a year. And yeah, no shit, he's on the injury report. I mean, it's just like, so
context
stupid,
matters.
Man. Yeah, it's just so stupid, dude.
I real quick, I do want to share my theory on what I think this Kareem Hunt second act for the Chiefs can be. I don't know if you saw my take or I don't know if you heard my take on this, but I'll start it with a question real quick, and you can just quickly respond if you know. Over the last 3 seasons, in particular, the last 3 before this season, who would you say was the most productive running back the Chiefs had?
Last 3 seasons. Last 3? I mean,
2021 through 2023.
Well, probably
I'll give you a hint. The Chiefs didn't draft him, and he was a journeyman when he came here.
McKinnon?
Yep.
Oh, now, so you're factoring the receiving. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, obviously, yeah, just as a weapon.
Production.
As a weapon.
Yeah.
So, McKinnon came here as a journeyman, injury-prone, undersized running back. You know how old he was when he came to Kansas City?
Probably not that old because he just had a lot of injuries. He made it seem old. He was 28.
He was exactly 29 years old. Who is 29 years old for the Chiefs now?
The Dream.
Exactly. I think, and maybe I'm, connected. I'm like going Alex Jones on everybody here, but hear me out. I think there's a real chance that we get 3+ seasons out of Kareem Hunt, and it'll be just as good, if not better, than what they had in that run with Jerick McKinnon, who was such an important asset to the Chiefs getting to multiple Super Bowls and winning multiple Super Bowls in that time that he played, because he super effective player, dual threat, just like Kareem Hunt is. Difference is Kareem Hunt weighs about 30 pounds more than Jerick and is about 3 inches taller. Just a much more durable player. And Jerick was awesome. We all loved him. He was great. He led the team in receiving touchdowns in 2022. I think that Kareem Hunt has a chance to be something of that magnitude for this team for the next 2 to 3 years. What do you agree with that, Marcus? Could you see that, or do you think like, this is probably like a one-off good season? We'll see what. Best of luck to you, Kareem. How do you see it,
dude? I'll say something that might be controversial, but before you say that, like, okay, just to already say what you said to answer this question, Kareem Hunt already has more rushing yards this year than McKinnon had last year for us, and then McKinnon had 2 years ago for us. So, so last year 60 yards rushing, the previous year 291, and the previous year 62. So in that one game that Kareem Hunt played, not even the feature guy, he already has more rushing yards than 2 of the 3 years McKinnon was here. So I mean, already I think we're trending in the right spot for that.
Yeah.
But dude, I'll say this, and this might be controversial because I know how much people love Pop and Pacheco. Is Kareem Hunt more talented than Pacheco? Because,
yes.
Okay.
I don't think it's that controversial.
No, I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah, I know, but there's, a lot of fans are like, well, Pacheco won Super Bowls with us. What did Kareem do for us? So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not dogging Pacheco. I'm just saying, like, and we've talked about this. This is something we've talked about. You and I and us three have talked about this on this show when I've come over the last few years. And JD and I have talked about this. The way Pacheco runs, he's going to miss games. It's going to be a thing. A guy who puts it all on the line like anyway, I love that. He fucking goes out there and he plays against his last down every time.
Violent.
But what comes with that is the injuries. You have to have a good backup running back, and we haven't really had that. Yeah, McKinnon was a great playmaker, but he wasn't a back. I mean, we're talking about a guy who got 62 yards rushing last year, and the 69 2 years before that. So it's like he was not the best backup running back. Great third down guy, great pass blocker, but he's not a good backup running back. You need to have a legit 1A, 1B with Pacheco. And I think last few years we're seeing that, the shoulder injuries. And then this year, you got to have a good 1A, 1B. And it's like, when Pacheco does come back, and I hope what happens, they sign Kareem for a 2-year, 3-year deal. And on some days, if that does happen, you're going to see games where Pacheco is the second guy to Kareem Hunt. They're going to ride the hot hand with Kareem Hunt. You need to have a good backup running back. And we're going to get Kareem Hunt back. He wants to come back and redeem himself with the Kansas City Chiefs. He never wanted to leave here. It wasn't like he tested the market and went elsewhere. No, other things happened. Circumstances happened, and he got cut. He didn't want to leave. So, like, you have to keep him here, I think. If he continues what he's doing and he looks solid, you keep him, and you have a 1A, 1B running back system with him, Pacheco. And it's probably one of the best running back. It'll honestly be like a kind of a poor man's version of the Chubb Hunt stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Chubb's more superior than all three of the guys we're talking about.
Sure.
But Pacheco and Hunt would be a pretty damn great 1-2 punch. And I think you got to keep Kareem Hunt. Or if not Kareem Hunt, you got to have a badass running back who will be here on the cheap. And, I mean, Kareem Hunt is that. So why not just keep him around to be that guy with Pacheco?
Chiefs like guys that are familiar with the system. That's why you saw McColl come back last season, and that's why you see Kareem now back, is that they know these guys can reign supreme in this offense when called upon. So now,
that's why Jody Fortson's being activated to the roster to have 10 tight ends tomorrow.
100% agree. Exactly. That's exactly it, man. That they like familiarity. That's definitely it. Chiefs got a Monday Night Football game this week. We know that, and I'll be real with you, Marcus. I said this on Twitter this week. I said, maybe I'm weird or wrong, but it was Thursday when I tweeted this, and I said I haven't given this game much thought. Not that, obviously, I'm amped. I'm stoked as I am every single week for a Chiefs game, but I feel like we already know how this is going to go, man. And maybe it's arrogant of me to say it, but I'm almost 100% certain how this game's going to go. It's going to be ugly back and forth, unnecessarily close, probably low scoring, and the Chiefs are going to find a way to squeak out a victory. Maybe cover the 5.5. That line might move up and down. Who knows? But I feel like it's the same movie. Like when I watch The Goonies or Sandlot, I know the movie's going to end. I'm happy overall at the end, but it's like, I mean, I knew it was coming. So I feel like the Chiefs have become the Sandlot, the Goonies, like those classics that you watch over and over again. You know how it's going to end. So that's where I'm at right now with this matchup. I'm obviously, like I said, stoked to watch another game. It's on prime time, back at home. Kareem Hunt's first game at Arrowhead in 6 seasons. It's going to be, it's going to be boisterous. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rambunctious. But without RASHEE Rice, it's going to be tough for the Chiefs to manufacture points. The Saints, I think, are pumpkins. I think those first 2 games, they were showing that, hey, Derek Carr wants to be Peyton Manning, and then he woke up from the dream, and now they're 0-2 in their last 2 games, averaging 18 points a game. So I think the last 2 games are more of what the Saints are. I'm not saying they suck, but I think that they're just probably one of those middle-tier, 8, 9-ish win teams. And I think this is a game where they're going to lose, but it's going to be a low-scoring, close game. What is your outlook on this game right now, Marcus?
I think my prediction for this game is 21-10. I think it's gonna be very low scoring, not a fun game to watch by any means. But a sluggish 21-10. So it's gonna be very close throughout the game. Yeah, I will say the one thing that I don't really buy the Saints. The first 2 games against Carolina and Dallas, okay, great. You guys scored 45 points against Carolina with Bryce Young, fantastic. And then Dallas looks like a shell of itself this year. And then the last 2 games, you could barely score against Philadelphia, Philadelphia's defense is dog shit. And you guys would score 12 points that game. So it's like, okay,
Right.
not bad. A team that scored 45, they dropping 12 against a really bad defense. And then last week against Atlanta. I mean, I think the Saints are the 3rd best team in their division. I mean, I think it's Tampa, I think it's Atlanta, and I think it's New Orleans. That was a great Thursday night game, by the way.
Oh, my God.
Hell yeah.
Probably between that and the Ravens-Chiefs game is the best 2 games of the year, I would say. Really fun game. So I do think it's going to be close, but I will say Chris Jones knows Derek Carr. Derek Carr does not want to see. Derek Carr is so happy he's in the NFC West. He doesn't have to see Chris Jones, or NFC South. He doesn't have to see Chris Jones anymore, dude. I mean, like, I looked at numbers this week because I was just curious. And everyone always talks about the head-to-head when you do quarterbacks versus like quarterback. So I did a head-to-head this week of Derek Carr versus Chris Jones. So career-wise, Jones has 5 sacks against Carr. 6 technically if you count the one they call him with the roughing the passer, but 5 against Carr. Carr is 2-11 against Jones all time. He's 3-14 against the Chiefs all time. Carr is 1-6 against Jones at Kansas City. Carr is 1-8 all time at Kansas City. Carr has 16 turnovers in 13 games playing against Chris Jones led defenses. So the guy is, let's say, seeing 95 against on the other side gets a little shell shocked. But like on top of that, they're without their starting center this week. And who's lined up against Chris Jones? That the backup center is going to be pissing his pants seeing him. So I think that's going to be a big element of this game. I don't think the Saints are who they showed the first 2 games of the season. I think we're going to have a game. It's not going to be a fun game to watch. I do think we're going to see Xavier Worthy be utilized a little bit more than what we have seen. I mean, at most, he's only got 3 catches at most in the game this year. And I think the way they ended last week's game is a little taste of how we're going to be utilizing him a little bit more. I mean, let's be fair, man. Like, people want to say, oh, he's a deep threat. Yeah, he ran 4.2, but he's not just a deep threat. If you watched his games last year, like, I think JD looked at his route tree. It was a lot of different stuff, man. He wasn't just running bombs, dude. He was doing a lot of different shit, a lot of screens, quick slants. I mean, he did a lot of stuff. Yeah, like, you could say, yeah, his makeup is, and the way they've used him so far is just a deep threat. But, like, you're going to see him they're going to get the ball to him a lot. And I think we're going to see plays we haven't seen in a while. The old, like the jet motion play where Mahomes just drops it to the guy. We might see some of that again. I think I saw his number is like over 3.5 catches is his line. I think it's going to be more than that. I think they're going to utilize him in a lot more ways. And the way you end the game last week is a drag route play that RASHEE Rice usually gets that call to him. Yep. But no, they do with Xavier Worthy. And it was a shock to everybody because no one had seen him do that play with him before. You iced the game with doing that drag route with him. You close it out that way. And I think they're going to start to utilize him a little bit more in that, a little more options doing those kind of routes with him, not just wheel routes and deep balls. You're going to do that kind of stuff with him. And I think you're going to see him get kind of put into the offense a little bit more. You're going to see Kareem Hunt come in and do his thing. And it's going to be great. I hope he scores a touchdown in Kansas City this week. I hope he does. His over-under for rushing was kind of weird. I think it was like 40-something yards rushing. So it's like, okay, that's weird. They don't know how the split's going to be still, I don't think. But I will say this, too. If you look at that Eagles game, look at the amount of times they ran the ball at Barkley. Barkley had 150 yards rushed in that game. He looked phenomenal. They didn't have A.J. Brown in that game, right? So Devontae Smith only played 3 quarters. He got knocked out in that game. No A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Goddard. Goddard has 10 for 150, so it could be a big game for Kelsey. But Devontae Smith, who does his makeup remind you of? Xavier Worthy, right? And they didn't have A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith, in 3 quarters of that game, at 7 for 79. You might see Xavier Worthy get utilized a lot like that, and you might see Goddard and the Kelsey kind of role. You might see a big game from Kelsey, and you're going to need a big game from Kelsey. You're going to need a big game from Xavier Worthy to sort of kind of get these wins. And also, too, I think Juju might have a big game because, you know, the one play that RASHEE Rice didn't play in that Atlanta game, Juju came in and played that RASHEE Rice role, had a touchdown. So you might see him get utilized for that because I think people may shit on Juju all they want to, and I'm not that most excited about Juju by any means, but Juju's a good replacement for RASHEE Rice. Very poor man's version of RASHEE Rice. Like body makeup and the way you can utilize him. Maybe not the quickest guy, but I mean, he's pretty good yak. I mean, career-wise, his yak's pretty damn good. So, like, he could fill that admirably, and I don't know how long it'll be before he gets injured, but he could be all right in that role for the time being. And I think, too, like, I know everyone wants to make a move. Let's see what we have for the next 3 weeks, and I think it's smart of us to see what we have before we just make a rash move and just trade for someone. We have, about a month before the trade deadline, a month from today, actually. You utilize this week. You see what if it's awful, then you make a trade during the bye week and you fucking have that guy come in this week and you start implementing whatever you got to implement. It's unfortunate, too, because I know you guys are big Nico Remigio fans. I was a big Ross fan, still am. And we're not going to see those guys get elevated. I hope one of them gets elevated this week, but I want to see what those guys have before we make a move for a guy who's going to have to take time to get to know the offense, because I really did think we were going to see some Ross last year. The guy had the off the field shit right after that big game, that big catch he had, that Vikings game. We don't hear from him again, and it's like, God, what could have been, right? Remigio had all this hype. We don't utilize him at all. Sky Moore gets utilized, and it's like, let's see what Nico could do, because I mean, frame by frame, they have the same kind of like look to them. I think Remigio's got a little bit more like burners, but like I want to see these guys that we've been talking about for so long get some burn, some reps, and some kind of rotation going. I hope there's some rotation going before they make a deal to see what we have with these guys.
Well, I don't know if I told this is breaking news, but I went and let the air out of Sky Moore's tires in his car, so there's probably a chance he won't be at the game. So maybe they'll call Nico up, or maybe they'll call your guy Justin Ross up. Either way, Sky Moore needs to quit getting snaps. He's got 43 snaps on the season, 1 target, 0 receptions, yards, touchdowns, but 1 drop. He's taking up a roster spot. I 100%. You and I have already talked. If they want to give Justin Ross that position, awesome. They want to give my boy Nico the position, awesome. Either way, we have a net negative that's sitting there in the wide receiver room, in a wide receiver room that's already limited at best. There's no reason to have the dead weight there, man. You go and get a guy that can make a catch. Go in there and get a guy that can make, at worst, punt returns like Nico can. Like, you get a guy in there that can be a contributor, because Sky Moore's not contributing. Like Trevor and I, when we watch him, he's in motion, like, oh, we know he's just blocking, and that's what he does. Like, it's absurd, man. So I did have a little thing for you here, Marcus, before we get you out of here, and we appreciate your time, bro.
Of course, brother.
So it's spooky season. It's Halloween season. Trevor and I are real festive here. I'm sure you guys are out there as well. I had an idea for you for an outfit for Halloween.
What's that?
So I was thinking, you go with me here. You put a wreath over your head. You have a handle on your side, and you have a welcome mat on your feet. Your DoorDash.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. That's a good one.
Don't encourage this.
That's actually
Marcus,
not a bad one.
Don't.
I didn't know where you're going with that at first. I was like, it's not bad.
So apparently Lance is high right now.
Not yet. I'm just saying. I thought that was a good idea, dude. I was sitting here, I was getting prepped for the show. I was like, DoorDash. This is it. You got to do it, bro.
It's not bad. The kind of the what do you call it? The doormat would be kind of tough to like walk around with, man. Like,
yeah.
What am I gluing that to my feet for the night?
Or just like get 2 like rough like sandals and put well and come on the other.
No,
spell it correctly, by the way.
Easy now.
Just put them together. I'm just saying, Marcus.
What do you guys do? Your Halloween costumes? Yeah,
hell yeah, man.
I'm
coming out as Adam from the Bible.
What?
He didn't have any clothes on.
Just birthday suit.
Yeah, I'm gonna gift. I'm being arrested in like 5 minutes. So
I'll put.
I actually thought about being the hand from Adam's Family. I'm gonna wear all black and just paint my hand, and I'll just be the hand. What do you think?
That's an interesting one. Yeah, I mean,
Marcus never come back on the show.
Not the most fun though. I mean, Jesus. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you. So, my girlfriend, she dislocated her kneecap and broke her foot. So she's like, she can't do anything for like 6 weeks. Actually, she had the Liz Frank injury. So like, I was like, wow.
Shit.
We went in. She got her like X-ray and stuff. I was like, oh, there's a Liz Frank injury. I was like, damn. I was like, running backs get that. She said, what do you mean? I was like, I've only heard running backs getting a Liz Frank injury. I never heard someone doing, because she dislocates her kneecap and breaks her foot doing the limbo.
Oh man.
Wasn't drunk or anything. She's at a networking event. She calls me. She says, hey, like I really like fucked up my knee. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, my foot. I think I sprained my foot. The next day, she goes to the X-ray, get an X-ray. Her foot's broken, and then like say, oh, you have a Liz Frank injury. Doesn't have to get surgery on it, luckily. But so we have a Halloween party to go to in 2 weeks, and we were trying to think of a themed couples costume because she has to be in a wheelchair to go to this thing. She's not weight bearing, and I'm like, damn, would be a good costume. So I was trying to think of movies where like guy wheelchair, guy not wheelchair. So right now we're thinking she would be Lieutenant Dan, and I would be Forrest. That's the only thing we can think of. But like, do you guys have any other ideas besides? Because I'm also like scared to do that and someone be like offended that we like she's like playing a veteran without legs and like she's like and like the PC folks. I got to make sure everyone's okay with the costumes and stuff.
Yeah, you ain't trying to get canceled out here. I get that.
No, I can't do that.
Weekend at Bernie's or something.
That's true. Was he ever in a wheelchair in that movie?
Probably not.
What if? Okay, buzz her head. And then you can be Mystique, and she can be Professor X.
Oh, that's pretty good,
that's
actually.
Good.
That's actually pretty good.
You know what I mean?
That's a good one, yeah.
Call me Butter, man. I'm on a roll here, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you guys don't appreciate me enough. You know what I'm saying?
Why do I have to be Mystique? I could be any X-Men with her, though.
Well, that's true.
Lance wants to see you.
I could see you in that suit. You know what I mean?
The blue outfit.
You look good in blue.
Well,
This
I mean,
has gone off the rails.
I could be any X-Men character, but I could still be Mystique though, because she can morph into any character. So like, I could be Cyclops, but I'm actually Mystique. Like, oh, really? Cool. Like,
You see how I did that? I alley-oop it.
Busy Halloween.
Marcus tomahawks it. See how I did that?
There you go.
This is too good to be true, bro.
I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you a question before we left, though. God, I totally fucking forgot what I was going to go. Oh yeah. So Harbin might not play this week, right?
Yeah.
So I think naturally, if we're talking about an elevation to the active roster, it's probably gonna be Nico, right?
I would imagine so because of special teams.
Should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. McColl did not practice Friday. That's usually a death nail and playing. So
I hope it's Nico. I want to see him get some live bullets, some live action. See what he can do.
He was pretty rough in preseason, man. I know everyone was a big fan of him. He was really rough. I know everyone wants to shit on Ross for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Ross actually looked good in preseason, but everyone's like, I'm tired of the Ross experiment. It's like, dude, this is only a second training camp. What do you mean you're tired of it?
I am the type of guy though that I'm like Michael Scott. I'm prepared to get hurt again. I started seeing the highlights again. And you remember last summer, I was like, guys, Justin Ross is making this roster. And I was the guy that was all opposed to it. I got converted. I said my prayers, did my thing to Father Ross. And I saw the highlights again this year. And I'm like, dude, I can't fall for it again because of how last year went. Because I'm in lockstep with you, dude. Like I thought after that Vikings game, oh shit, here he goes. And then offseason stuff happened and I was crushed.
Terrible.
I want to believe in the kid, man, but I just feel like there's always something, like a 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of thing. So if they bring him up, I'll be stoked because the kid is talented. He's 6'4", got good hands, red zone type of target you want to have. He's built like AJ Green. Like, yeah, man, he's everything you want in a receiver. And I tell Trevor all the time, jokingly, but kind of not jokingly, I'm a size queen. I like tall receivers. You know what I mean? I like them big.
The guys we grew up on, like the Randy Moss, the Torrey Holtz.
Well, he's a prototypical alpha wide receiver 1 body type. So,
right.
I mean, and it brings a dynamic to this offense that we haven't had, which is why I was talking about like Amari Cooper would bring something different. Not that he's Amari Cooper, but he's a big body, 50-50 ball go-getter, a kind of an alpha body kind of guy. So we've had nothing but these 5'10", 190 guys, which it works.
Yeah.
Something different would be nice.
And the fact they pull up Jody Fortson leads me to believe it's like, okay, they're not bringing up Ross, they're gonna bring up Remigio because I don't understand the 6 tight ends. I know I'm exaggerating here, but I don't understand having that many. Like I get we like tight ends, but that many? Come on, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't get either.
Well, either way, I think we're all expecting a close-ish, ugly-ish, win-ish for the Chiefs this week. Either way, it's always fun to break these games down with our guy Marcus Dash. I'm really looking forward to seeing you and the lady as Professor S and Mystique. Either way, in all seriousness, I hope she heals up well, man. That sounds like it sucks, and I know that puts you on extra duty, so I feel really bad for her, but I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're the best, dude. Either way, bro, you being with us for the time you've been. I mean, it's been like almost 50 minutes. Yeah, I mean that's a show in itself. You give us your time on your Saturday. I can't thank you enough, and thank her thank her from us from allowing us to rent you for a little bit, man. But like I said, dude, Chief Concerns, best show out there. Let the people know real quick because everybody already knows you're at a show, so I don't need you to tell them what the show is. Just tell them when you guys usually air and when they should expect to get a new episode from you guys.
Yeah, so we go Monday. Well, this week's different because we have a Monday Night Football, so that just throws off everything. But generally, it's Monday live streaming 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then post game shows. So after the game, so very busy season, man.
It is, dude. It is, and I love the fact, JD. He doesn't. You usually lob the question to him, and he'll be the one that dissects things. We like it when we have you on because we get your opinions. Not that you don't express your opinion on your show, but we know that JD's the one that usually is breaking things down. We like to get your opinion on this show as well, man. So, but it's I think you guys have the best show in the community, bro.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's our guy Marcus, man. Looking forward to talking again, dude. Hit me up. I'm sure we'll text later on today or something. But when I come up with some more ideas, Trevor will come up with some more ideas. We'll be sending them your way for your guys' outfit. But I think Professor X might be a good one, man. I'm just saying.
I think that's the one. I think that's the golden ticket right there.
Yes,
the bald cap.
Marcus, you have a great weekend, brother. Love you to death, dude. Thank you so much for your time today, bud.
Love you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Yes,
have a good
sir.
weekend, guys.
See ya.
That is our guy Marcus Dash, man. The best dude in the world. Our buddy, man. You know, it's funny. Marcus, Trevor, and Marcus, we've never hung out in person, and he's like one of my best buds, man. It's hilarious. It's like
and that's we never will. No,
right. He doesn't even exist. It's all AI. No, yeah, Marcus. We've been, I think since what 2020. I want to say Marcus and I've known each other probably since 2020. Yeah. That's when Jason and I got pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, it's been over 4 years now, and JD and I have hung out a couple times, but never met Marcus in person, bro. So I can't wait to find out which one.
Maybe he's not real.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's all AI. Dude. Yeah, he's AI. Marcus AI Dash. And you think about the name, kind of sounds, it kind of sounds like a made up name. Marcus Dash.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cop. No, but I mean, like either way, yeah, we appreciate his time, dude, and man,
Officer
speedy
Dash.
recovery to the lady, bro. Like seriously,
yeah, that sucks, man.
So that, yeah,
That's
hopefully she gets
injury.
That is a shitty injury. So best of luck, man, to you guys. Best of luck to
doing the limbo too. That's rough.
Yeah, no shit.
Damn.
Before we get to the people, Trevor, we do need to give the people our quick preview on this Chiefs Saints game. We kind of discussed that obviously with Marcus, but he gave us his thoughts on this one. I kind of alluded to what I'm expecting, so. Kind of hand it off to you though, Trev. I mean, look this game. I'm not like overly stoked about the matchup because I feel very confident the Chiefs are going to beat Derek Carr.
Yep.
I don't fear the Saints. Those first two games, I'll give them credit. They were out there and they were walloping teams, but I felt like that was one of those. Every year we see a team like that comes out the gate just blazing, looking good, scary, and they kind of just fall back to earth and they just become the team they actually are. I think that's what the Saints are. I don't think they're going to come in here and drop 35 on the Chiefs.
Sure.
I'm not expecting, Derek Carr to go out there and look like Peyton Manning again and Raheem Shaheed just blowing off the top of the defense. I think the Chiefs' defense is going to dominate this game. Just period, point blank. I think Chris Jones, who's, again, been the best Chief this year, is going to continue to be the best Chief this year and have a monster game against Derek Carr and this banged-up Saints offensive line. I'm also looking forward to, Trevor, what the linebackers are going to do against Alvin Kamara, because he is an animal. Right. He just refuses to age. I think he's 29 years old now, and Alvin Kamara looks like it's his best. He looks like he's at his best. Alvin Kamara is having an incredible season, and he's the one guy on this offense that I'm actually worried about. And I know people say, well, Lance, the Chiefs are great against the run. It isn't about his running ability that worries me.
Right.
It's when he catches the damn ball in the flat. And that is where the Chiefs have a little bit of a weakness on the defensive side of things right now. I am a little concerned about this linebacker room. Sure, Nick Bolton's looking way better than he did in week one.
He's catching his stride right now, too, yeah.
But we both know, Trevor, and everybody that's watching this will have to admit, Nick Bolton's ultimate weakness in his game is in the pass defense. And I am a little worried about that matchup. Man. And I think the Saints have all intentions of getting Kamara the ball 20-plus times in this game to feed him the rock and make opportunities happen in the flats, get those chunk plays, and try to settle for field goals probably because they know that the Chiefs' offense is going to be banged up this year or this game without RASHEE Rice. If RASHEE was playing, I would feel very comfortable with the Chiefs win this game by multiple scores.
We win by
4. Yes. Yeah. But it's going to take Travis. And I will say this. I do expect Travis Kelce to have a game very similar to last week. Reason being, 1, it's needed. The Chiefs have to have Travis Kelce play well. 2, we know what's coming after this game. A bye week.
Mm-hmm.
So he will have multiple weeks to rest. I think the Chiefs are going to throw to I think Patrick Mahomes and Travis are going to have a game. I'm expecting Travis Kelce to have over 8 catches, 90 yards, probably a touchdown finally, be his first touchdown in 12 regular season games. I'm expecting that, though. I'm expecting the stars of the Chiefs to be the ones that lead the way in this one because they're going to need their stars to lead the way in this game. How do you see this one going, man?
Well, obviously, this sets up as just another ugly, similar game to last week. 2 solid. I mean, the Saints' defense is definitely more beatable than ours, obviously, but yeah, go figure. Derek Carr and that Kubiak offense, which started off hot against arguably the worst defensive football in Carolina, and then a very suspect, if not fraudulent, defense in Dallas right now. A bad secondary, and Kamara had 3 touchdowns against them. Could have had 4. And then since then they've looked pretty pedestrian. And it's Derek Carr. He's going to pumpkin at some point, and why not spooky season to go full pumpkin? Makes a lot of sense. But I think this is going to be a closer game than we want. It's going to be very uncomfortable. We'll probably trail at some point, I'm sure, as we always do. Don't let it go to 10 because then we're definitely winning if we trail by 10. So, I mean, I think this is going to be one of those games that both teams are going to try to establish the run. and both teams have good weapons on both sides. Obviously, the Saints have more weapons at this point right now. 𝚂𝙿𝙸 is a problem. I think that's a guy that can definitely beat us if we don't bracket him. I do expect us to bracket him. And then, they got RASHEE, 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺, a guy that's just an absolute burner, one of the fastest players in the league. Has shown his abilities to not only win over the top, but win underneath as well and be a really good yak guy. So we got some problems on our hands, man. This is going to be a team where we're definitely going to have to, be on top of it and be, like you said, Nick Bolton. Tranquil, who's been getting beat a lot in coverage as well, has not been very great this year so far, if I'm being honest. I expect more out of him, and I do expect him to get better. Yeah, I think this is a team that's going to try to get quick strikes on us. They're going to try to get the ball out quick to their playmakers, as they should. But I think Spags, I just trust Spags, man. I trust Chris Jones and Spags and this defensive line that's been playing top-notch football to get after Derek Carr, and as we've always done, and it's gonna be a slow-paced game. It's not gonna be a lot of scoring. I think the most we score is 21-24, which would be a high-scoring game for us at this point. So, Tyrann Mathieu is gonna want to get his vengeance against us. That's a guy that plays very motivated football, and any kind of chip on his shoulder he can find, he's gonna use it. I love that guy. I miss that guy, and he's gonna want to be all over Kelce. You already know they're gonna want to have him. He knows Kelce's tendencies to play alongside him in countless practices. You know what I mean? So Kelce's he's gonna have his work in for him, and they're gonna really try to take him away. I'm sure, but I'm sure there'll be some plays breaking down where Patrick Mahomes, they go off script and they do their thing, they do what they do, and Kelce's gonna find success one way or another. I think the Chiefs win this game, though. This is a game that the Chiefs win. Like you said, this is the Sandlot, this is the Goonies. You know the ending, you know how things go, and this is just lines up as one of those games. Chiefs are at home. We're probably not going to cover the spread because I think it's at 5.5 or 6 like that or something like that right now, and we'll probably win by 3. By a field goal. Bucker probably go out there and win the game, put the game away at the end or something like that. It's going to be uncomfortable. We're going to let the Saints hang around too much. But this is a team too, though. The Saints, I am worried that they could have some big blow up plays that bust this game wide open. That is a worry of mine because they have the guys that can go do that. But at the same time, I trust Spags. I mean, I trust what he does against guys. He takes away their number one weapon. I think their number one guy that we're going to target on defense is Chris _Olave, though. I think we try to take him out of this game as much as possible because I think he's the deadliest. I know Kamara has been doing his thing, but he is banged up heading into this game, and I don't think they're going to try to overwork him in this game. So I think they try to get him going, but at the same time, I think our defensive line and our linebackers can really take care of Kamara in this game. So I think stopping Chris _Olave, who's the most talented receiver in this game on both sides of the ball, is going to be the guy we're really going to focus on. So I think the Chiefs win this game, by 3 or 4 points, and ho-hum, we go into the bye week, try to figure some more things out moving forward.
If we could, Troy, let's go ahead and put up the injury report of this game because it is a massive size difference in between both teams.
Yeah.
If you look at the Saints side of
they're
things,
banged up.
They are very banged up. You mentioned Alvin Kamara. I do fully expect him to play, even though he has a hip and rib injury. But if you look at just the did not practice guys this week, I mean, Willie Gay.
Their defense especially, though.
Willie Gay may not play in this game.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill may not play in this game. Cesar Ruiz, their other guard, may not play. Who's their best guard.
Their offensive line is a fraud too. They started off really hot because they're getting quick strike big plays.
Yeah, but Cesar Ruiz is a good player.
Sure, he's the only really good offensive lineman for them, to be honest. Though,
and as our guy Marcus Dassman mentioned, their center Shane Lemieux.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah, their center Shane Lemieux is going to miss this game. Peyton Turner didn't practice. Their defensive end,
Lucas Patrick.
And they already struggled getting to the quarterback. The Saints have the legendary player. Oh my God, he's old as shit now, but. Oh my God! How am I missing his name?
You talking about for the Saints?
Yeah, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. Defensive end. He's one of the greatest of all time. I can't believe I'm missing his name. Someone's screaming at me right now.
Yeah. I'm trying to. I know
he hasn't have a sack this season. The Chiefs' offensive line's been really good at keeping pressures away from Patrick Mahomes, even with the left tackle situation. But yeah, Peyton Turner, like I said, didn't practice. Even their kicker was on the injury list this week. Now, the Chiefs do have a couple key names on their injury list, as we talked about. Mike Gannon, who missed last week with a calf injury, he's been a limited participant. We'll see if he'll go. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Cam Jordan.
Thank you, Cam. Mike, whoever said it, thank you,
Mac 10. Appreciate you.
I cannot believe it. Jesus. Cam Jordan, thank you
he
so
has
much.
been,
He's finally hitting the wall. Let's be real. He's like 35 years old.
Sure.
Clyde, he's on the list. not because of an actual injury, just because he's been having the mental health stuff.
McColl's probably the only guy that's going to be out.
Yeah, Nick Bolton fully expected to play. He was a full participant. Kareem Hunt, that's
Mike Dana
all for rest.
should be back.
Yeah, hopefully Mike Dana's back. And Derek Nottie been a full participant. So what I'm saying is the Chiefs, outside of RASHEE, is really not going to be missing anybody key in this game.
Right.
I say that not in a dismissive way because, trust me, RASHEE's a very key player. But again, I emphasize on the Chiefs having their star players. As long as Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones are out there, I feel very good about the matchup. I will say this, Trevor, there is a unique trend that is going on with the Chiefs defense, even though they've been elite this year.
I already know where you're going.
I know that Spags has been handling this thing very differently this year. The Chiefs have been giving up early leads immediately. All 4 games this season, the Chiefs have given up a scoring drive on the opening drive of their opposition.
Yeah.
Chiefs are very infamous for deferring, or whatever the case. They don't like getting the ball first for whatever reason. I understand it. Sometimes I disagree with it, though. Spags has been doing this thing where it's almost like he's like allowing, and I know that sounds weird, it's almost like he's allowing the opposition to score or get some rhythm going because he wants to see what their card and what their game plan is, and then he counteracts it and just shuts that shit down.
Well, we're definitely allowing a lot of production to the tight end position.
Well, that's all, yeah, and that's
so
on the
Juwan
linebackers
Johnson
again.
might be in due for a game here because
Right.
we've been allowing production tight ends like crazy, man.
The good thing about this, though, is I think Derek Carr is one of those quarterbacks, though, that I don't think he's a 4 quarters quarterback. If
He
that
gets
makes
in his
sense.
own head against us too, for
Yes.
sure. Always has.
And his first, he's coming back to Kansas City, which I know he wants that blood. He wants because he got his ass beat a lot by the Chiefs, both in his house and in the Arrowhead. Yes, Tyrann Mathieu being back, but I think there's a real, true, genuine love and respect between Tyrann Mathieu
for
and
sure.
the Chiefs.
But he knows he's gonna want to beat our ass.
He's gonna want to beat him though.
Yeah.
However, though, I think Spags is gonna have something really special in this game. And I'm going to tell you right now, Trevor, I think that Spags, his goal this week is actually going to be a little bit different than the first 4 weeks. I think he's going to want to say, no, we're not letting Derek Carr get in a rhythm. Because he's a rhythm quarterback.
Well, you let him play free and fun, Derek Carr will light you up.
That's what I'm saying. With
Yeah,
these
don't get
weapons,
it twisted. Yeah.
I think that this week they're going to say no.
That's what the Cowboys did.
Yeah.
They fucked up. They let him just kind of run around making plays, give him time to throw the ball.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think if Derek feels good at Arrowhead early, he might feel good at Arrowhead all game.
He's
I think
done
that
it before.
Spags,
He's had a couple games.
I think Spags is going to come into this game and say, no, we're going to make you punt. We're going to make you punt
Dude,
the first
and
drive.
get after this suspect O-line too.
Yeah,
just unleash Chris Jones.
And
on his
it's
ass,
more
bro.
so the factor that Spags knows that the defense is more imperative now than ever, because they know that they lost their star receiver just last week. So it's imperative the defense starts games hot now. They can't really allow 10-point deficits. They have to come out and say, all right, we're gonna let our offense get up ahead, and then we're gonna carry the load. We're gonna pin our ears back. I think Spags is gonna come up with that mentality this week. I don't expect the Saints to score on their opening drive. And I will say this as well. I think the Saints only score 1 touchdown in this game. I think the Chiefs are going to keep them to 3 other field goals. I think they do move the ball because, let's be real, Spags has that bend don't break defense. I think Derek will move the ball at times, get some big chunk yards with Chris Olave.
That's how the Eagles game was.
Yeah, Raheem Shaheed. I think he gets some big, like 30, 40-yard completions. That kind of gets the crowd like, God damn it, on a third down. We get all pissed off about
I
it.
know Juwan Johnson's going to have some big play here and there that's going to piss us off too because we always let tight ends get a big play.
I'm calling it now. Chris Jones has 2 sacks in this game, and I think that FAU has another sack in this game. I think FAU steps up in this game, dude. I think that with the banged up offensive line, the opportunities that FAU has taken when he's ever had any opportunities, you've seen it. He's shown that he will make a play when given an opportunity. I think that FAU continues to step his game up, which is going to be a positive when Charles Menhu's back, because it's going to add that depth on the outside. Because right now, let's be real, Karlaftis isn't really having that great of a season. I was expecting a lot more from Karlaftis. He's not really. So adding Charles back to the equation in a couple of weeks is going to be huge. If FAU can continue to develop his confidence in his game, that's a massive, massive upgrade for the Chiefs, man, to have that as an option, especially with Dana being out on the other side of things. So with all that said, Trevor, if you could, man, go ahead and give me 2 key players to this game and your score.
Well, I've nailed the last 2. I called Nick Bolton a couple weeks ago, and then this past week I called Jamari Connor, who had a sack. So that was awesome to see that. See Spags send him for those plays. I love those kind of those DB blitzes. This week I'm going Leo Chenal. I like Leo Chenal in this game. I think he's been getting utilized more and more. He'll be over the middle sometimes. They'll put Chris Jones out on the edge and they'll put him on the edge. That guy just wins. He wins his battles. And you get a one-on-one with the offensive lineman or a tight end trying to chip, he's going to win that. And I think that this O-line's already kind of banged up. This Saints O-line's already kind of banged up, and I think this is a situation where you can just let the pure athleticism and dog of Leo Chenal just go out there and just do his thing, find the weak points. They've been trusting him a lot more to kind of go find those weak points, like Chris Jones kind of just walks around on the defensive line and just picks who he wants to beat. I think Leo Chenal's kind of getting to that point too. We see him move it. They let him move around a lot too. So I think he's going to go out there and make some plays. I really like him in this matchup. With his speed and his versatility along the defensive line, along with Chris Jones. Both those guys can absolutely obliterate this offensive line, and it could be a bloodbath. So I love Leo Chenal defensively. Offensively, man, this is a situation where Juju's going to have opportunity.
Oh.
And I think Juju can go out here and have 6-7 catches for 60, 70 yards and maybe a touchdown. This just feels like a moment where Juju, this is why he was brought here. Not obviously to fill in this role, but he's been in this role before. He was the Rashee Rice, obviously much less athletic than what Rashee Rice is after the catch, but this was the same role that was for Juju. Right? And he was great in it. He would have had 1,000 yards if he didn't get hurt that year.
That dirty hit from Cisco.
Yeah. He would have been over 1,000-yard receiver. And, we'd be thinking about him a little differently looking back on that if we did that and got to that benchmark. So Juju's not who he was, but he's got fresh legs still, man. He hasn't had much tread on those tires the last year and a half. He didn't have training camp. He didn't have preseason, nothing like that. So he's fresh. I think this is a game where Juju can go win us a game and have a solid game and performance here. So I think, especially McCole being probably out of this game, this opens up a door for opportunity and just volume for Juju. And I think he can go take advantage of this, at least this week. After the bye, who knows who we're kind of looking at. Xavier Worthy getting more entrenched and more plays for him.
We'll have more clarity as to where Rashee Rice is.
Right. But if Juju goes out there and has a solid game, takes advantage of this situation, which he's been in this situation before, he's been the guy for this offense before in the passing game. It's this week. I think it's got to be this week, and give the defenses of our opponents going forward in the season and something else to think about if Juju goes has a baller game. I think that's good. And I think Andy Reid wants to do that for Juju. I think Juju's up for it, and I think, like I said, he can go have 6, 7, 8 catches for 60 to 80 yards and a touchdown. I think he can have a big game here, and this is a very beatable secondary for him. And he's a good route runner. He's not very fast anymore, but he's a guy that still can create space and get separation. And I think Pat finds him a lot in this game. So I'm going Juju, and I'm going Leo Chenal.
Guy we're both big fans of. We loved the acquisition last year to this defense. He's not been playing very well this year, and he needs a massive step up in this game, and it's Drue Tranquill.
He's been pretty bad this year, man.
He's been pretty bad. He's been whiffing on tackles. He's been out of position. I don't know. I don't really understand. I would have figured if you had issues in this defense, it would have been last year getting acclimated to it. But now that I don't know. There's just something off with Drue Tranquill. I don't expect it to last because he's a damn good player. But this is that game where he needs to kind of step up. And I thought it would have been the Chargers game last week. I would have thought that, being a former Charger, you're focused in on playing your former team. He was bad again last week. I think that this is with Alvin Kamara coming into town, and I'm expecting him to be the focal point of the offense for the Saints because Derek's going to want to play a little more safe football in this game. I do think that Drue Tranquill is going to have to make some big plays. I think he's going to make some open field tackles on Alvin Kamara. If Taysom Hill does play, that's a guy that's hard to tackle, big frame.
Yeah.
Drew's going to have to I think if Drue has 7 or 8 tackles in this game, the Chiefs win this game pretty comfortably because I think he's going to stop the Saints on third downs.
Well, Nick Bolton keeps playing the way he is.
Well, yeah. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not really worried about Nick in this game. I think that they're going to keep him in the middle, reading Derek Carr's eyes and what the delayed run plays.
He played against Derek Carr quite a bit.
I think this is a game Drue Tranquill has to contribute for the first time, which seems to be all year. On the offensive side of things, man, look, I'm riding the hot hands, just like Marcus was talking earlier. It's going to be Kareem Hunt. This Saints defense can get ran on, dude. We saw what Saquon Barkley did. We've seen that this defense can get gashed, and I think Kareem Hunt continues, and I think it's one of those feel-good stories where Arrowhead just abrupts when he gets a 25-yard rushing touchdown or a dump-off screen that goes to the house. I think he's scoring in this game. I think Kareem Hunt gets that touchdown. I think Andy Reid's going to draw it up to where he gets that touchdown. And to be honest with you, it makes the most sense now because there's so many limited weapons on this team. He's actually one of their premier weapons on the offense. And I don't think that's strange. I don't think that's a coincidence. I just think that it's a great story. And I think Kareem Hunt continues his way of being a legitimate contributor for this offense, and I think he gets that. I think he gets reservations for 6, and it's going to be one of those awesome stories, man, to put out there. And did you see your score, by the way?
No, I didn't see my score, but I'll say it 19-14.
Okay, I think I'm going to go 20-16.
Okay.
I think the Chiefs score a couple touchdowns early in the game and kind of just coast off that, get a couple field goals, kind of, icing on the cake. This game will be close. I think that this is going to be a defensive battle, but I do think, believe it or not, I do think the defense forces a couple turnovers. We know the Spags defenses have struggled to turn the ball over. They're always in the negatives and the turnover takeaway differential. I think the Chiefs, believe it or not, I think the Chiefs offense plays a clean game. I don't think they have a turnover in this game. I think they force the Saints to multiple turnovers, and I think the Chiefs win this game 20-16. They don't cover the spread, but they do get the victory and go 5-0 into the bye week, like I did predict. And they start to mend to their wounds. Hopefully we get some good news on RASHEE, at least better news than what we were anticipating. And we see what the Chiefs do at the wide receiver position on their off week. But that's what I see it going. I wanted to make an additional prediction, Trevor, before we get to speak it, which I know the people have been waiting so patiently. The Texans are going to beat the shit out of the Bills this week. And I think Stephon Diggs scores 2 touchdowns. I've been wanting to say that all week because I think this is a game that is very important to the Chiefs. Because we know the Bills are that team that everybody's been praising like a motherfucker all year. And they finally faced real competition last week, and what happened? They got shelled.
Well, the Texans get Tank Dell back this week, too.
And here's the biggest thing, Trevor. The Bills lost Von Miller for a month. And he's been one of their only legitimate pass rushers. I think C.J. Stroud's going to dice this defense up, dude. And I think that Stephon Diggs, all week long, he's marked this calendar all year.
It's tough to throw in this defense, though. They don't allow much in the passing game.
I think they're dicing this defense up. I think C.J. Stroud's going off, and I really do believe that Stephon Diggs is having 2 touchdowns in this game. And maybe I'll be wrong. We have it on film for a reason. But if I'm right, you better believe I'm clipping this shit. But I think the Bills, I already called it 2 weeks ago. I said the Bills are going to go 0-3 in their next 3 games because they're all 3 road games against legit teams. And I think that's what's happening. They already got shelled by the Ravens. I think they're going to get shelled on the road against the Texans. And then they play next week against a pissed-off Jets team and Aaron Rodgers when they probably get Devontae Adams. And I think that you're going to see them lose to the Jets in New York as well. So that's just a little prediction I wanted to put out there before we get to you guys, because let's get to them now, Trevor. They've been waiting too damn long. What's going on in Speak It?
All right, so we got Dustin Orton. Speak It. Have you watched the McMahon documentary? If so, what are your thoughts?
So I haven't watched it yet. I have it on my instant queue, but I've been getting a lot of reactions from friends of mine that have been watching. And the thing I find interesting is that McMahon supposedly played a role in this docuseries or documentary, but now we're hearing that Vince McMahon has a rebuttal that he wants to do with his own documentary to this documentary. So I think this may have opened up a can of worms that may have just started this thing. Like, this might be the beginning of something. Because we're hearing about, with The Last Dance of Michael Jordan, now Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, a couple of other players that looked bad in The Last Dance to make Michael look better. Now they're starting their own documentary. Yeah. So I think that this, like I said, this could be one of those like rivalry things that we're getting. And Vince McMahon is one of the single most interesting men in the history of sports entertainment. His father started the WWF, which is now WWE. But Vince McMahon, let's be real, he's the one that made the WWF and WWE what it is. He took it to a whole other level, got all this talent, made legend after legend after legend, took down the WCW. We all know the story. But I'm very interested to watch this documentary, man. I just have not really dedicated the time to sit down and engage in it because I know how I'm going to be. Once I get into that first episode, I'm going to want to just continue to binge watch it. So I will get to it, and when I do, we will definitely talk about it on the show because I think it's a very important documentary for our pop culture as well, because we know that the wrestling has influenced a lot of things for our generation as far as, the way people act, the references, quotes, things of that nature. They've built movie stars out of that industry. So I'm very much looking forward to watching it as well, but I have not gotten to it yet, Dustin, but I will, I promise you, man.
Yeah, I definitely haven't gotten to it. I don't have much time to sit down and really get to watch things like that lately, but definitely it's an intriguing, interesting thing, especially us growing up on that stuff. It's seeing the behind the scenes on a lot of that stuff, and then the good and the bad, obviously. But very interesting man, that Mr. McMahon. Dustin Orton. Some would say we did it last year with our depleted wide receiver room. We can do it again this year. Do you think we could, or or of course, never doubt them anymore. Should we put Mahomes through it? Absolutely not.
Look, yes, the only they can do it again, but my stance has always been, but you shouldn't, because that's very arrogant of you to say, oh, let's just keep doing it that way. Where I will defend the Chiefs is they didn't do it the same way. Last year they were foolish as shit. They put a bunch of just bargain barrel pieces in that offense. Hey, Patrick, make the most of it. And it blew up in their face and almost cost them their season. They had to will themselves to that Super Bowl, unforeseen, unprecedented Super Bowl run that they had. And it was because they had maybe the best defense in football, and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce came alive down the stretch. The difference this year is they tried, and guys got hurt. It's just a much different. It's an attrition situation. That's the problem that they're facing now. So I can't knock them for that. But they may have to do it the same way this year. They may have to. It's not fun. It's not exciting. It's not sexy. But it has worked. It can work. And if I'm putting my money on it, it will work. Because I'm not betting on anybody else to win the Super Bowl other than the Chiefs. All the other great teams out there, or teams that are up there in contention, I put my money on the Chiefs on them every single time, even with their injuries, because I just can't doubt Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones, because I've seen them overcome the obstacles time after time after time. And quite frankly, I don't have the confidence in Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, CJ Stroud, or any other quarterback you want to put out there to dethrone the Chiefs in the midst of this three-peat. I just don't see it. So hopefully the Chiefs get healthier so we don't have to sit here and worry about it being like that. But even if it isn't, it may not be my favorite way, but it is a way that has worked to this point, yes.
Right. Big Rick 85. The offense slow start, blame Mahomes play or Nagy play calling?
Both.
Yeah.
Look, Nagy, I think Nagy would be getting praised if Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice were healthy, because the offense would be so much better. They'd be probably scoring 27, 28 points a game right now, maybe more. Because there would just be more talent out there and guys getting open, and it would just be much more fun. We saw the first game of the season how the offense looked, and that was a precursor of what was about to happen. Because they were like, man, wait till Hollywood Brown gets in this. I remember he listened to Mike Greenberg on ESPN Get Up the next morning. Like, this is the Chiefs? Oh, shit.
That was against the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
Too, man.
But you saw Xavier Worthy score those 2 touchdowns. They're like, they just showed you guys what they're about to become.
She went off.
Yeah. So, look, man, I definitely think that it's to blame on Nagy, but only because the fact, like I said, I think he's still trying to implement the style of offense they can't play with the Jimmy Joes not being out there. Now, Patrick Mahomes, same thing. He's out there trying to play football as if it's 2018 when he's got Tyreek Hill and, Travis Kelce and, Sammy Watkins. You don't have those guys right now, dude. So you can't go out there and chuck the ball downfield 14 times a game hoping for things to happen. And when you do, you can't be airmailing it. You can't be arm punting that shit, man. So, yeah, I think it has actually more, believe it or not, I think it has more to do with Patrick Mahomes. I think it has more to do with him because he's the field general out there. He sees what defenses are out there. He has the right to check down, check out to another play, and he hasn't done it. And he's trying to force the ball in these tight windows, and he can do it, but a lot of times he can't. It makes it look even worse than what it should, man.
Honestly, I feel like he's not forcing it enough. I think he's trying to float balls with touch passes. He's trying to have too many touch passes, and he's floating them too long. Defenders are getting there. A lot of these interceptions that Pat's thrown this year, if he just puts it on the player and just throws it on a rope to the numbers.
Especially that Falcons touchdown.
It gets there.
Yeah, to Noah Gray.
And the one to Travis Kelce, too.
Yeah.
Like, just last week, like, he floated that thing, man. There was no reason for that to get picked. If you just put it on if you put it on 8-7 right in his chest, he's catching that ball. So, the touch passes stuff, Pat's trying to get too cute with it too much and just, like, lackadaisically throw the ball out there, and the defenders are like, I'm fast enough to get there, bro. I'll get that ball. And he's just got to, honestly, oddly enough, be a little more aggressive if he's going to throw those balls. Henrique, this is in the same vein as that last question. Whenever things go well, it's Andy. Whenever things go south, it's Nagy. Are the fans just looking for an easy culprit? Nobody dares to criticize Andy.
We do.
We criticize Andy Blaine on this show.
And we love Andy. I think Andy's going to go down as the greatest head coach of all time.
His strengths can be his weaknesses sometimes.
But he's not above reproach. He's not like, you can't talk about him. We're criticizing Patrick Mahomes, who's the greatest quarterback who's ever lived.
The red zone woes are a lot of Andy Reid's fault.
No,
so.
And I'll be honest with you guys, Nagy's the last one I'll blame. Because Nagy is coordinating Andy Reid's offense. This is Andy Reid that controls everything. He controls everything offensively. Now, Steve Spagnuolo is basically his own head coach over there on the defense side. Andy Reid doesn't fuck with that.
Right.
He lets him do his thing. He treats him like a head coach, and that's how he should be treated, quite frankly. Andy runs this offense. Matt Nagy does not. Matt Nagy puts in the game plan throughout the week with Andy, puts some ideas here and there, talks to Patrick Mahomes, what they're comfortable with, what plays, during this coverage do you want, things like that. 5 to 10 plays here and there. But at the end of the day, it's Andy Reid that's running this offense. So when it comes to the offensive woes, I will blame Patrick Mahomes first because he's the one that has to execute it. Then Andy Reid for getting too damn cute or making the wrong call, and then Matt Nagy after that. This is why I never blamed Eric Bieniemy for the things that were going on. When everyone was trying to blame Eric Bieniemy, I'm like, guys, this is Andy Reid's offense. The offensive coordinator in Kansas City, let's be real.
Yeah.
It isn't like over there in Washington where you got Dan Quinn running things on the defensive side as a head coach and you got Cliff Kingsbury as your OC. It's different here in Kansas City. So let's take a break on that, guys. So
wanted to give you an update too. I know your boy Anthony Richardson, he's now doubtful to play this week.
I figured that hip didn't look good, man.
So Joe Flacco's going to go for 350 and 4.
Like 2 picks. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, no.
They'll probably win, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, damn. I know I was picking the Jags, but I might have to rethink that. Joe Flacco looked really good in that system.
I love that video, dude, when Joe Flacco's like, Anthony Richardson told me that I'm 6 months older than his mom.
Yeah. How do you not love Flacco, dude? He's such a cool guy, man.
Awesome.
Yeah. I love the Flacco story. We saw what he did last year in Cleveland. So that guy, he can deal it.
Hell of a backup to have right there, man.
For sure. I just wanted to get these in here too. These aren't really questions, but this is John Harrison, our statistician in here. If they traded for Adams, the Chiefs, anyways, traded for Adams, they'd have to shred the contract and re-sign him. His base salary for 2025-2026 is $35.6 million a year. Both are viable. Both are voidable, so you'd have to redo the contract. So we'd have to shred his contract and rework another one, possibly, as what John is saying, the way it would probably have to go if we ended up getting him. So most likely, what John is saying, that's probably not going to happen.
Yep.
We're not getting him, and that's not going to happen.
Nope.
Next one from him, he said, Trev, here's info on Kirk. Christian Kirk. His base salaries are $14.5 million this year, $15.5 next. They could easily tear that up and extend him years and bring cap figure down for the next year. That's the one that I think that makes a lot of sense to me too. Obviously, Deontay Johnson being another guy I think was, like I've talked about, is on the last year of his contract and another kind of a prove it year situation for a guy that I like a lot and is one of the better separators in the league. So Christian Kirk and Deontay Johnson too, as far as fit goes, makes a lot of sense. Makes most of the sense to me to go after those kind of guys. So having the situation with Christian Kirk being able to tear that up and kind of start anew and create a new,
in a similar scheme too.
Yeah,
good for him.
And Christian Kirk's another great after the catch kind of guy too. So thank you for that, John. Julia Gulia, do you think Steele gets another chance?
I do.
If Cream's banged up, I think there is a chance.
Yeah,
it's still tight.
I'm not saying his career's over or anything like that, but I do think that trust is such a big thing to Andy. And when you're a young kid putting the ball on the ground, twice in 2 or 3 games, knowing how limited this offense is going to be already, you can't really make up for that. I think that he's going to be out for a little bit. I think it's going to probably take another injury, but I do expect to see him back up with the team, whether it's this year or next year. I do expect, because I think he's a good player. But this is kind of what I was trying to talk about. I remember back in the preseason, Trevor, when everyone was hyping up Carson Steele as this next huge stud. I'm like, God.
I liked him. But
I did too, but I'm like,
I didn't see the fumbles happening.
Let's calm down a little bit, guys, and let this dude kind of grow into his NFL career, because we're putting a lot on an undrafted free agent. It doesn't just happen like that, dude, where he comes in here and becomes a Hall of Famer. So
he's not Peyton Hillis. He's not going to have one of those kind of seasons. This is not. He's a plotter, but he's a guy that I like that's always moving forward. He's a big, strong guy. I like guys like that for situational football. He's not some star running back. That's just not going to happen. He's not fast enough. He's not explosive enough, but he runs hard and he's tough to bring down. I like guys like that, too. You need guys like that on your team. But Cream has stolen his job. So, Micah Hayes, anybody got word on Hunt and Hardman injuries? Will they play?
I'm going to say Hardman probably doesn't play. Yeah. If we hear today that Nico gets activated or Ross gets activated, then we know Hardman ain't going to go.
He's been back-to-back DNPs. You don't.
When usually with the Chiefs, if you don't practice Friday, unless it's for a rest or an emergency situation, you're usually not going to play.
What makes me nervous about McColl not playing is who are we going to have back there, getting the punts and.
That'd be Nico. I would say. I
I
swear
feel-
to
I feel
God,
like
if they
I-
put Sky Moore back
that's-
there,
That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna lose my fucking
I
mind.
feel like Toad
dude.
would do that shit. And
Y'all
that's what
follow
makes
me on Twitter.
nervous.
You guys know during games I lose my shit. I might chuck my phone into my own face if Sky Moore plays.
That's what I'm nervous about, man. Because
Oh,
McColl's been he has been great, but
sweet
he's a guy you
Jesus.
know is not going to drop the ball.
The fact this dude's even on the active roster still pisses me off. If he gets punt and return duties, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, dude. Oh, you know
Watch him
that
cribble.
dude
Watch
has
him just take it to the
more-
house.
That dude has more muff punts in his career than touchdowns.
Yeah.
Why would we do that? Why would kids? I swear, I'm gonna lose my mind, Trevor.
Yeah.
They better bring up Nico. If
That's
McColl
what I'm
doesn't
nervous
play.
about because that's what the first thing that came to my mind when I see the DMPs for McColl. I'm like, shit, who's going to be back
Terrified
there?
now. I just got a cold sweat.
I don't know if they elevate Nico just to do that. I mean, they could, and I hope they do,
They
but
better.
we'll see. James T. Kirk, Devontae Adams to Baltimore. Are you worried?
No, that's not happening. Look, that is what we call posturing, ladies and gentlemen. Devontae Adams is a very intelligent man. He knows if he puts that out there, the teams that he actually wants to go to and the teams that actually want him are going to be like, oh, shit. You know what that means? He's talking to the Ravens. Nevermore. Well, Edgar Allan Poe, the connection with him and the Ravens.
Yeah.
It's not happening. He's either going to go to the Saints or the Jets. Two former quarterbacks he's played with in the past that he's friends with that makes sense for him. That is where he's going to go. There might be some some dark horse team that comes out of nowhere, but I'm telling you guys right now, the Ravens, unless he wants to, get 4 targets a game, he is not going to Baltimore where they run the ball 79% of the time. It's not happening, dude.
Yeah, we did just get a report from Pete Sweeney on X. The Chiefs say that wide receiver did actually practice today and limited.
Who?
Pete Sweeney announced that the Chiefs McCole Hardman had practiced and limited today, so that's good actually. So there is some hope that he actually gets out there and plays because if he's practicing, the day before the game after having a DNP,
That is good news.
He's actually on the field today, so that's good. So and we've all known that McCole is one of those guys that will play through some shit, so he's a tough guy. So.
Well, if he practiced today,
That's what I'm saying.
In limited snap, or because Saturday's more of a walk.
He got in limited, so
yeah, that sounds like McCole's probably gonna go.
that just gives us some hope that he
yeah.
might be actually be out there. We're gonna need him.
Yeah.
I mean, just for special teams purposes, in my
Right.
mind. James C. Kirk, Kareem Hunt will take a grown man's job. CEH? Question mark.
I don't really think CEH has a job to be taken.
Yeah.
Anymore. I think that if Kareem's going to take a job, it'd be Isaiah Pacheco's. And I say that with all respect to Isaiah Pacheco, but as we just talked with our guy Marcus Dash,
We don't know we're gonna see him.
We've seen, and we've talked about it on the show forever, and people used to crush me for, but I mean, it's been nothing but correct. Isaiah Pacheco has an injury problem.
Well, not just that, and I've been the guy. I'm not the biggest Isaiah Pacheco guy. I think he's a good back. I think he's only been as successful as he's been in this league because he's a part of the Chiefs. If I'm being honest, he's a great athlete. He's a great straight runner. Not the most elusive guy. Not the best guy after first contact. Doesn't shake contact off very well.
Fast. He's fast.
He's fast. He's strong. He runs hard for his size. He runs like he's bigger than he is.
He's like 5'10", 195,
But
200.
Kareem Hunt has always been the more talented running back. That's not a question. The dude had 9 touchdowns on very little usage last year. He's easily the better goal line back. He's the better elusive back. He's better after first contact at moving forward after the first contact. So, I mean, if anything, we're in a good situation where Kareem Hunt looked good. Hopefully he looks good this week, and if we can continue getting him work, Isaiah can come in. They could be a nice little tandem. That's the ideal situation, especially before the postseason. If we get Isaiah back before the postseason, that's a nice little surge with another guy with some fresh legs. But no one's stealing anybody's job. If anything, Kareem got the job by default because there's an injury, right? And we probably would have never even called Kareem Hunt if there wasn't an injury, right? So CEH is going to be what I don't think. There's much expectation for CEH at this point. I think he's going to come in. He could be that scat back role. He's going to have a nice big play every once in a while, but CEH is kind of what CEH is at this point, man. Last question for my guy, James G. Kirk. Last question. I was so impressed with the Royals starting pitching versus Baltimore. Can it repeat versus the Yankees?
Say that one more time.
Last question. I was so impressed with the Royals starting pitching versus Baltimore. Can it repeat versus the Yankees?
Absolutely. Here's the biggest reason why.
One of the best bullpens in baseball.
People think it's absolutely crazy that with the Yankees having Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton who combined for 88. I want to say was it 88 or 87 home runs between them. Juan Soto's in that lineup. They got a nasty lineup, dude. But what do we know about postseason baseball?
Yeah, pitching and defense, baby.
When the temperature drops, the bats harden. And I'm not saying Aaron Judge and Giancarlo and Juan can't get their numbers. I'm not saying they can't get home runs. I'm not saying they shouldn't even be the favorites. But I have a lot of faith and a lot of trust and belief in this Royals team, man. They have all year long. I mean, they've had some slumps and things of that nature, but they are, I think, probably the worst matchup for the Yankees in a postseason series because they're so different. And quite frankly, they have the better pitching staff because you have Garrett Cole at the top, that ace pitcher of the Yankees. I would take the Royals rotation over them.
Yeah.
I would take it over them. And then all of a sudden, the Royals have a closer that can throw in the high 90s, early 100s with a nasty-ass changeup to boot. So I'll just say it. I'm picking the Royals in the series.
Oh, shit.
I'm picking the Royals.
Okay.
They got hot. They beat the Orioles.
We got nothing
on
to
the
lose.
road.
We shouldn't even really be here.
Exactly. All the pressure is on the Yankees.
Yeah, man.
We know how we were listening to a beat reporter this week talk about how every single game is like a miniature season in New York. So the pressure is mounting. Aaron Judge has never won anything meaningful. It's gonna be a lot on his shoulders. You know, dude, home run hitters, they start to swing a little harder. They seem a little more tense. Yep. You know, when that happens. Remember, A-Rod, one of the greatest players ever, was not good in the postseason most of his career.
Yeah.
Because he got tight and he was worried about trying to hit home runs. I think the Royals can play small ball and win this series, man. I really do. We've seen them do it before in the past. I think they can do it again,
and
man.
Momentum is a hell of a drug, bro.
Yeah.
They're rolling hot right now. One of the hottest teams in baseball at this point in the postseason, the way they're playing. So, and their bats have been good too.
Yeah.
Their bats have been swinging.
And having Vinny Pasquantino back is so big, man. It's so big for this team, dude.
For sure, man. No doubt. We did have one last bonus question from our guy, John Harrison. Wanya Morris taking Sky Moore's job. He does have as many career touchdowns. LOL. I mean, damn. You're not lying, bro. That's damn.
That was pretty savage, John. I'll give you a bump for that
one.
Wanya,
man. Swing tackle / wide receiver.
That was
Put him in the
John.
slot.
I appreciate that one, John. That was a good little send off, buddy. We appreciate all you guys, by the way.
Absolutely, man.
For being here. But John, way to flip the bat on that one, bro. That was good. That was good shit. Speaking's always fun. I love that we get to kind of send the show off with back and forth with you guys. We very much appreciate that. So good stuff today, guys. I tell you the top of every single show, tell you the bottom of every single show. Go to YouTube, hit subscribe, notify, share, all that fun stuff. All those buttons definitely help us when you guys push them.
Come on.
But get in that live chat, man, every week. When we're live, we want to hear from you guys. We want to see what you guys are saying, what you guys, are burning up on, what you've been wanting to talk about all week, and maybe you've been trying to chime in on other shows and they're not paying attention. They don't listen to you guys. We do. That's what we do here, man. We definitely take what you guys say seriously, man. We take it to heart, and sometimes, we argue about it off air. Sometimes we throw blows over it. So you guys are really impacting our lives, I promise you. But, cops being called aside. Trevor, we have one more order of business to get to. What's it called? Hold this out. Each every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, whoever is holding the L in the world of sports from one of us or both of us, they deserve those L's. Trevor 𝚂𝙾, who's holding the L for you this week?
All right, so we saw that barn burner of a game, a fun game against the Detroit Lions and the Seattle Seahawks, one of the best games of the year so far. Just back and forth scoring. That's what we love in this league. It's fun to watch as fans, especially for those who play fantasy. That was fantasy, just smorgasbord, if you will. That was great to watch, fun to watch. Jared Goff had one of his best career games, maybe his best as far as efficiency goes, ever for him. So up there. He's had a lot of great games in his career. But this one, he was 18 for 18, perfect from the field passing, didn't have one incompletion, caught a touchdown and threw two.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he didn't get the game ball.
He also has many receiving yards. Right. This guy more.
But the reason I'm giving him the L here, it's more of a fun L. It's not nothing sad or anything, but it was funny. And I don't know how you can't like this Detroit team, man. They're so fun. I love Dan Campbell. He's just one of those true football bros, just an old football bro. Love that guy. But they didn't. He for some reason overlooked that performance from Jared Goff and didn't give him the game ball. So it's an L for Jared Goff, man, because he did all that, had maybe the best game as far as efficiency goes, and while catching a touchdown while being perfect from the field, and he didn't even get the game ball. And I just wanted to play this clip too from Dan Campbell when he didn't give him the game ball.
I knew he played a heck of a game. I did not realize he was perfect. I did not know he literally 18 for 18. I mean that, but I knew he played really well. I could feel it, and he really found his rhythm early. And I thought he was seeing the field, played with rhythm. He had to move a little bit in the pocket.
But yeah, I love this seeing Coach on the stand, like getting Quest that asked that question and feeling bad for not even giving obviously the best player in the game. Granted, the running backs were incredible in that game. Multiple, like 4 touchdowns between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Those 2 guys are ridiculous. I think those guys got the game ball as well. But yeah, Jared Goff got left off the list after being perfect and while catching 1 and throwing 2. So I just thought that was funny, having fun with the team that won. But yeah, Jared Goff getting the snub there. So Jared Goff, do me a solid, buddy, and
hold this L. Before I give my L, I want to pay homage because we lost 2 juggernauts in the world of sports this week.
Nice.
One was really shocking, and the other one was just flat out heartbreaking. The shocking one, obviously, was Dikembe Mutombo. We heard that Dikembe lost his life at 58 years old to brain cancer. And I didn't know anything about it. I don't think anybody knew about it. It was very much like the Norm Macdonald situation where all of a sudden we just found out he passed away and he had cancer all this time. And it just shocks you. It just guts you.
Yeah.
Because Dikembe was a guy Trevor and I grew up watching, man. And
one of the best defenders.
Yeah. Mr.
Ever.
No, dude. Like all the jokes and everything. And it just legend. Just a legend of the game, man. And it just really sucks to lose him that early. He was only 58. Like it sucks, man. I want to pay homage to him and obviously to one of the greatest baseball players of all time in Pete Rose. Now, he was older in life. He was 83 and, he had some health problems, things like that. But
yeah,
it's heartbreaking to lose a legend like that at any magnitude or any portion of their life because of what they represented and the aura that they brought to any room that they were in and around the people they were in.
Very polarizing guy. Our
dear friend Trisha Mahomes, Pat Mahomes Sr.'s wife, she just met him a few weeks ago. And she was kind of telling about that on Facebook, and it was a touching story, man. And from what I heard, Pete Rose and a lot of people, got along with him in his later years. I know that he had his issues and there was things that went on in his life, but from what I heard, he redeemed himself and he turned a lot of things over. But he was also somebody who was never afraid to speak his mind, which I always appreciate from somebody that are raw and just true to themselves. They don't care who's around; they'll speak their minds. Which is actually where my L comes. I love baseball, but I hate the MLB. I hate the way they do things. I understand that Pete Rose did wrong. There's no excusing it. He lied and lied and lied about not betting on baseball, and he did. There's other situations that I don't want to really detail that took place in his life that I abhorrently I'm disgusted by. But if I could be so bold right now, those things don't matter when it comes to what you do on the field. There are plenty of actors and musicians that entertain me, and I don't think they're good people. In fact, I think some of them are downright disgusting individuals. But they make incredible art. And you have to be able to acknowledge that. You can separate the artist from the art. And I wish that baseball would do that. I wish they would let down this unnecessary pride. And I wish they'd have done it before it was too late. Because Pete Rose 100% deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He is the greatest hitter of all time. He has played the most games of all time. This man was the definition of hustle that they literally nicknamed him Charlie Hustle. He played 24 seasons in the league. This dude was the ultimate representation of what a baseball player was supposed to be. An entire generation grew up adoring this man.
He embodied the game.
You can't tell a third of the baseball story without Pete Rose involved. He is one of the true legends of this game. And to not have him and Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and Mark McGwire and guys like that in the Hall of Fame because of an era of guys all juicing is downright embarrassing. And for Pete Rose to make a mistake after his career is embarrassing. Get over your pride, MLB. Yes, made mistakes. They're inexcusable. But he had a Hall of Fame career. You going to take his numbers down? No. You going to give back the money you guys made off these guys? No. Then reward them for what they did for your league. It's so shameful that Pete Rose never got to see his name in the Hall of Fame. And we may never see his name in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, and that's shameful too.
Yeah.
It's absolutely shameful. So with that, I pay homage to those two legends. But on the other side of it, MLB, grow the fuck up and hold this L.
Hold that L. MLB.
Can't spell, you can't spell MLB without an L.
Yeah. RIP.
Great show, guys. Awesome show. 2.5 hours. Got a lot into this, man. Content was awesome because of you guys. Shout out to our brother over at Chief Concerns, Marcus Dash. I really mean it when I say them and All Chiefed Up have the two best shows in the content community of Chiefs content creators. I love their shows, man. I look forward to them every week when they post. I respect those guys' opinions because I know they're coming from an honest place. Even if the fans don't like it, they tell you how it is. That's what we do here, and that's why we respect them so much. That's why they're on our shows, and that's why they're friends of ours. So shout out to Marcus. Go follow them if you're not already doing that, guys. They're going to have some awesome content for you guys for the rest of this NFL season. Shout out to those dudes, man. And shout out to all you guys for being a part of this thing, man. So hit us up on YouTube, guys. We very much appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday, the rest of your weekend. And let's get ready for this Monday Night Football game, man, because I know that I am definitely ready to see some more Chiefs football. Hopefully it's a good game. Either way, very confident they're going to get that W, move 5-0 before the bye week. So for Trevor Twidwell, for Clay Wendler that puts all this together on the back end of things, for the entire Starcade Media family, I'm Lance Twidwell. Episode 286 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And until we're back here in 1 week's time, talking about the Chiefs moving 5-0 and what they're going to do with the rest of their season at wide receiver and their bye week, get rested up, we out of this bitch.
Later.